Welcome back to Mik'd Up. We have a special edition. It's Monday, May 30th. Happy Memorial Day. We were brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Coach Jay Johnson leading off the show. Thank you for joining us. This is live and in person. Lloyd can't chat on the camera and make you laugh. He doesn't do it in person. He actually made a very good impression with your wife. So just a heads up, he may be sitting next to her during the regional.
Maybe that's what she let him think.
That's true. That's true. She can outthink him, I think.
Poker face got him.
Speaking of the regional, y'all are going to the Hattiesburg Regional right down the road, about 2.5 hours away, maybe less than that. What are your thoughts? It's a pretty wide open field. I feel like the parity in college baseball has been pretty good this year, and there's a bunch of tough draws. I feel like, for me, I think the Tigers got a pretty good draw. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, first off, we're happy to be in the NCAA tournament. It's not a given. No matter what it says across your chest, that has to be earned. There's a lot of good teams that seasons ended today that maybe didn't even expect it. So I'm proud of our team for that. I mean, in terms of moving forward, I don't really look at the draw because there's 64 teams left, so you know you're playing a great opponent. So it just becomes about the play.
Right.
And we need to have a good week of preparing, which we will. We'll give them a little bit more rest today. It was a pretty long road trip we were on. We didn't come back, actually, from after Vanderbilt. So I want to get the energy and the juice back in their legs and their bodies. We'll work out tomorrow morning and get ready to roll. I mean, in terms of who we're playing, Kennesaw State, I don't know anything about their team other than once it was announced, I flipped on my phone real quick, and offensive numbers are very good, have some power. Obviously won their conference, have some good wins, played some SEC teams, tough. Southern Miss has obviously had a great year, very deserving host. Won Conference USA, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Conference USA got 4 teams in, which for mid-major conference is pretty impressive to be the champion of that. And then Army, you're going to get, they're coming, and they're not going to be afraid of anything or anybody. So great field and excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, as far as obviously everybody came into the SC tournament, and after the sweep at Vanderbilt, we as in fans and media probably assumed that we had a good chance to host.
Yeah.
You go in there, you go 1 and 2 in the tournament. I still thought that, with the resume and what you've done, had a chance to host. We didn't get that. Did you anticipate us not hosting or hosting? And is that disappointment to the team, or were you prepared?
I have different thoughts on it. I really wanted it, and I wanted it for different reasons because it is a difficult thing. It's more difficult than it's ever been to get a regional host site, and I really wanted it for this team to show their body of work, which is very good. I mean, we have 10 top 25 wins. Not many teams in the country have 10 top 25 wins. I mean, if you think about the road schedule, we swept the national champions on the road. We swept the national runner-up on the road. We beat Florida 2 out of 3 on the road. So there was a real strong resume there. When I came to LSU, it was kind of like if you finish in the top 4 in the SEC and win 17 conference games, you're probably in a pretty good position as long as you do your job out of league. Well, we went 20-5 out of league.
Right.
So when you line it up that way, it's kind of disappointing, but there's no sense in thinking about it, worrying about it. We've played great on the road. I like this team on the road.
Yep.
Right.
So we're ready to roll.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, I mean, you touched on it already. Can you talk about how important it is this week for you guys after pretty much what the last 3 weeks have been as far as for health-wise?
Yeah.
How important it is for you guys to kind of come back home, catch your breath, get the juice going again, get guys kind of healthy going into the weekend?
Yeah, I think it's big, and this time of year you're monitoring their health, their bodies, their mind. I think, mentally we cracked a little bit as far as fatigue on Saturday, and you could see it. And
you were there for 5 days with rain delays?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Late nights.
Yeah, hey, we're never going to make excuses. My belief is we have to overcome those types of things. But I think in moving forward, which that's what we need to do now, I think getting back here, getting some rest, sleep in their own beds, treatment, having a deal where we're not that far away is good. We'll replicate what we did when we went to Mississippi State and Alabama, where we left on Wednesday, and make sure they get there, settled into the environment plenty early, and get plenty of rest. And if you can't get excited about the NCAA tournament, you shouldn't be playing at LSU.
No doubt. So. Let's rewind a little bit to the SC tournament. Obviously, you talked about it being, you went to Vanderbilt, straight from Vanderbilt to Hoover, rain delay, postponement, all these different things. Go out there, take care of business the first game against Kentucky. You play Tennessee, who's the number 1 team in the country. Obviously, they're the number 1 overall seed. They're the best team quote unquote, in the history of college baseball, whatever. I think that they're a beautiful team. We've talked about this. I don't think they won the national championship. I feel like y'all outplayed them. I feel like just with the game of baseball, y'all lost 5-2. Right fielder makes a diving catch down the line that keeps two runs from scoring, and then runners on first and second, I believe, and Trey Morgan lines out to shortstop.
Yep.
And one more foot to the right on both those balls, it's a different ball game. You win the game. Maybe a play that should have been made 9 times out of 10 gets made. Like, y'all are right there. You obviously have been around this team the entire year. You knew the capabilities that they have. You matched up toe-to-toe with the number 1 team in the country. That's got to give you a little confidence going into the postseason.
I think, and it should give our team confidence as well. I mean, they are a good team. Dollander was pitcher of the year, and you could see why. I thought he was the best guy we faced all year, but we did take some good at-bats off him. He got us in the first inning a little bit, and then we kind of got our bearings and made it hard on him for the next 4 or 5. There was runners on base every inning from the 2nd to the 6th inning. So that's a good start. I thought Ty did a good job. I think if he makes the play on that swinging bunt, there's 1 less run on the board, maybe 2. But they're good, and we talked to the team, like, hopefully we'll see them again. I think now the way the bracket came out, we'd have to be in the finals to see it
which
again,
is good.
Which would be just fine for everybody around here.
Speaking of, go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, I would imagine, like, you kind of touched on it a little bit. You go with the toughness of the scheduling that you went over the past 3 weeks. You go with the timing that you play Tennessee this year. We all know baseball. It's a game of getting hot at the right time, right? I got to imagine that having that schedule toughness, playing the number 1 team in the country late this year, in your mind, it has to bode well for your team's mindset going forward.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. I think, we've played Tennessee, we've played Texas. We mentioned the road schedule. There's nothing that we haven't seen so far that we will see in the NCAA tournament. Right. So there's no surprises at this point in time. It just comes back to the play. And we're going to play teams that are capable of going to Omaha this week and hopefully the following week. So it just comes back to mindset, playing good baseball, and going for it. I've tried to implement, if you want to talk about culture, that every game is a playoff game. Like, everybody has a hard time understanding that a Tuesday game matters, but it does, clearly. And, there's some SEC teams not getting in the tournament because they lost on Tuesdays. So my message to the players is we don't have to change anything in terms of approach. It just comes down to playing well, and we'll outline the things that we need to do, and when we've done those things, we've had a lot of success.
You mentioned Ty Floyd, obviously threw well. He made a play that he probably would say I would. That's beside the point. Coach Burtman's here. He's always said to win in Omaha, to win that championship, you have to have 2.5 pitchers. That's what he always said. You need to have 2 guys that can go. You can trust to go deep in the game. You need a guy on the 3rd guy that can get you 4 or 5 solid innings, and you're just going to have to go bang it out the rest of the inning. Has Ty Floyd given you that?
I think so. I feel like we've had 6 good outings in a row.
Yeah.
The first few of those were out of the pen. The last 2 were starts. I have a lot of confidence in him. He's a different look than most guys, and I think this time of year that can really help.
I mean, he was electric.
Yeah. What we'll do is we'll map out Kennesaw State.
Yeah.
We'll map out Army. We'll map out Southern Miss and try to set it up where the guys we feel like match up the best against, that's the way we go. And then you hope, obviously, Mikhail and Ty can get deep enough into the game where you turn it over the pen and where we can mix and match. Like I said, the only team I've seen any of is Southern Miss, and they played Ole Miss right before we played Ole Miss, and they played somebody else right before we played them. So just from a scouting standpoint, I've seen kind of what those bodies look like in the batter's box and that type of thing. But we'll have to dig in and make sure we line it up right.
Right.
You have traveling to Hattiesburg. Obviously, it's a road series, but it's 2.5 hours away. LSU fans travel. Hattiesburg, Southern Miss, they bring their own type of electric type of fans. The atmosphere there is going to kind of feel like a home series, I would feel like. Is that something that you're looking forward to? Obviously, you're on the road, but you know that you're going to have a pretty good presence. Obviously, LSU fans travel really well.
Yeah, I think, I'm not familiar with how big their park is. They bring it. It's a electric type place in its own right, and credit Coach Barry and their staff and their players for building that up the way that it is. I'm sure it'll be a hot ticket. But before you even get to that point, I mean, we play a good team that won a conference championship, and so we got to stay focused on that. They're playing a good team that won a conference championship, And you guys have been through it. 4 seeds win regionals sometimes,
No doubt.
you know, and so we won't get too far ahead of ourselves. I know that we'll have to play 3 really good games to win this tournament.
But it's almost fitting for this team. Y'all have been road warriors all year. So if we have to go on the road and then you have the opportunity to maybe, if the bracket falls the way it might, actually get to come home for a super regional. I know one pitch at a time, one at bat at a time, but if the dominoes fall the way that they could, you have to go on the road, then it comes back to Baton Rouge, and then everybody kind of gets to see what Alex Box is all about, especially in your first year.
Yeah, I trust me. I really wanted it more so for our team, like
absolutely,
and to say, hey, you know, you guys were barely in the NCAA tournament this year, and then we won 4 more SEC games, we won 4 more total games, and we're playing home baseball. Like that's what I wanted it for. Right. But I want it for our fans too. I mean, they support us. So they were awesome in Hoover. You know, it legitimately felt like an Omaha type feel on Thursday and Friday night out there. So. If that happens, that'd be great. You know, trust me, this is my favorite place in the world now. So I want to get back here.
I was about to say, it's funny. We're sitting here, and this is obviously we've done this, 4 or 5 times now. I can feel the different energy in you right now. How much does it excite you to have the opportunity for playoff baseball in purple and gold?
It's the best. It's the best. And, you know, I mean, the NCAA tournament has always kind of been a pinnacle for me, obviously, because it's the tournament that you get to Omaha, and 365 days a year, all I'm thinking about is how can we make our program good enough to where we're a team that can constantly knock on the door and be in Omaha. So we're in the tournament that gets you there. That's exciting. And playoff baseball is awesome. You know, you don't. These guys won't remember, you know, every Tuesday game. You know, they might remember the game they hit 2 bombs or threw a shutout or something like that. But you always remember these postseason games: who you played, where you played,
the energy,
and the battle and the energy. And really, I want to see them be themselves.
Right.
If I want to see the maturity to just focus on the task at hand. It's all we've talked about since we've been here, and this is the best opportunity to showcase it and show that they have that.
Right. Do you feel like a little pressure? I'm sorry.
No,
do you feel
go.
like a little pressure's been kind of lifted off your shoulders now, just to get to this point where you're obviously this is just one on the checklist, but this is something that you have to do?
It's a good question.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, it is a good question, and you know, I mean,
1 for 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, you come to coach at a place like this largely because of the history and the tradition, and you're in the NCAA tournament. You know, sometimes I feel like a place like LSU gets the benefit of the doubt of their history. And so, trust me, I want all the benefit of the doubt we can get, you know. But this team didn't need that. You know, they ran through it. Anytime we were challenged or needed to get tougher, we did. You know, when it got hard, our team got harder, and I think that's a good sign going into this thing. And you have to have it that way.
You got to be battle tested.
Yeah, but the thing that's the most important is the things that you needed to do to win opening night 2 weeks ago at Vanderbilt are the same things that you need to do to win these types of games. And if they can just focus on that, they'll be all right.
It feels like when the back's against the wall, that's when you play your best.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a 365-day motor, I have a hard time with that one. But we're gonna try to work on that moving forward. But like I said, there'll be, you know, you're in a double elimination tournament, so I mean the clock starts and we have to be on it.
Absolutely. One more question. I know you have a lot to go. You have some prep to do. We talked about injuries, talked about being banged up. Obviously, 2 of the best players on your team weren't there for the SEC tournament. Are they going to be available this week?
I think so. I mean, I just saw Jacob in the hallway, and he's going out to do some stuff today with Corey and on his own. You know, Cade, I mean, he's gotten better every day. That's a tough injury, but like I said, if there's any positive, is he's the toughest kid on the team. And so I expect them both to play.
Yep. Coach, good luck.
Awesome.
I can't wait to watch. Hopefully we get to go out to Hattiesburg. We're working it through. Hopefully you can get there. Yeah. Maybe have a show from Hattiesburg.
Room on the bus.
Yeah. I'll keep Lloyd away from the
contain himself, man. Right when I want to let him out of jail.
You cannot.
Ride with your wife.
Yeah.
Coach, good luck.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
Get some of your guys' postseason magic going.
Yeah, let's do it. I fully expect. I know there's gonna be a run in there. I like the draw. I think it's gonna be fun to watch. So good luck. Thanks for coming on,
guys.
Coach.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Good luck. Go do it. Go do
all right, you
it.
want to take like a 20-second break? Let's get the boys on. You got Paulie G and Coop coming on.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
See ya.
The Jordy Colada Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more.
Welcome back to Mik'd Up. We are brought to you by Sterling Automotive. We just had Coach Jay Johnson on. We got friends of the show, Paulie G and Coop. I'm just going to call you Coop, like everybody else calls you Coop. Yeah. Can you hear them? Is the mic close?
Absolutely. Yeah, get a little closer, boys.
Yeah,
Own that thing.
Friends. First time in the SEC tournament, obviously. First time at LSU, first time in the SEC tournament. What was y'all experience? To me, we talked about this. The SEC tournament is my favorite. Beats Omaha as far as like atmosphere and like being around the guys, being around the other teams. Omaha obviously is different because you can win the national championship. But what was y'all's experience of the SEC tournament? Obviously, I know y'all didn't win it, but you had a pretty good showing. Y'all are probably 2 plays away from beating Tennessee. You know, the guy made a diving catch in the outfield, line out to shortstop with runners
I'll
on
be the
scoring
first to let
position.
you know it.
Huh? Yeah, I hate them. I hate Tennessee so much. But y'all are right there, right? Like y'all went toe-to-toe with them. I feel like y'all had outplayed them, and they made a couple plays that weren't necessarily y'all. It wasn't y'all's fault. It was just the way the ball kind of fell. What was y'all's experience in the actual tournament and being in Hoover for the first time?
It was definitely, I loved it. I definitely know what you're talking about with Omaha and stuff. It just felt like it meant more there to the fans because I feel like Omaha is just a good mix of just baseball fans.
That's right. You've been to
not
Omaha,
just-
so you know, yeah.
It's like that's more just like baseball fans, not like diehard to the actual teams there. So yeah, it was like.
Wait till y'all make it
crazy.
this year, and then the LSU fans travel. That's crazy.
That's what I heard.
The whole thing's purple and gold.
Yeah, that's
It's
what I heard.
crazy.
And no, it was a blast. Obviously, didn't get the result we wanted, but no, I really thought we stuck with Tennessee pretty well. And obviously, they're the best team in the country. And I think if we have Barry and Doty in that game, I think we win that game for sure.
I agree. What do y'all feel about y'all's draw? I think to me personally, I think y'all got a pretty good draw. Y'all are close to home. Y'all are going to get a huge home field. I say home field, but y'all are going to have a huge presence with home fans. What y'all's feeling on the draw?
It's pretty solid. I was pretty happy when I saw it.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know much about Army or Southern Miss or Kennesaw State, but I know that LSU fans travel well, and that's not far away.
It's only
so
2
that's a
hours.
good thing.
Only 2 hours away.
Kennesaw State.
Yeah.
What is that?
Coleslaw State?
Yeah, coleslaw.
Coleslaw State. Kennesaw State. They do. They have offensive numbers, but I will say this: I think their stadium's a little bit of a bandbox.
It is.
We had a transfer here. Junior college transfer. Oh yeah, it's small. So we had a transfer here, and he led the junior college, or he led Kennesaw State in home runs. Transfers in, and did not hit one home run for us.
I won't say any names.
Not naming names.
So yeah, Coach Murray was not happy about that. He was like, "How far are the fences?" And then we did some research and realized that they aren't very far.
Yeah, Dixie League.
You've played in the postseason. You haven't yet played in the postseason here. What are you looking forward to, and what's from your experiences? What are something that you can give? I guess some advice you can give to the other guys that haven't been in this position. Looking forward to it.
Last year, I thought what we did good was just play like you had nothing to lose. Kind of just go into that mentality. And I'm excited this year to play on the road because it was just
y'all road dogs. Y'all talked about it.
Road
dogs.
I'm excited for that. And yeah, I feel like we're just better on the road too.
What are you looking for? You've never done it, so.
I've never done it. I was thinking about it. I've never really like won a big baseball championship in my life, like except for like rec ball when I was little.
Right.
So I'm just looking forward to like just winning is so fun.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking forward to just enjoying that with my teammates, and then like you said, we play really good on the road. Just take it one pitch at a time, and hopefully win each game in front of us.
You saw. Go
I
ahead.
about to say we've talked about it with y'all before. Jay's come on and talked about it. The season goes long. Try to put importance on every game as much as you can. It still won't match this. How excited are y'all to play in games where you're like, hey, like we are legit now in a win or pretty much go home situation? How fun is that for y'all? Do y'all take that challenge and like really run with it and love it, or do you see the team kind of somewhere in the middle, or how you feel about it?
I'm fired up. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Like I love watching postseason baseball. Last year I was watching all the games, watched them in Omaha.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait, man. Like playing in all these games is like what you dream of when you're a kid, and now you have a chance to go win games and go to Omaha and hopefully win a national championship. So we're fired up. There you go.
Adrenaline's gonna be pumping for sure.
You touched 95, maybe 96.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Arkansas radar gun man in 95.
Yeah.
Hey, did Dad tell you I met your dad?
Oh,
I met
really?
your dad at,
Oh, yes,
at
yes,
CBS.
like CBS,
At
yeah.
CBS. I was walking through and he came up to me. He was like, "Hey, I'm Cooper's dad." I'm like, "Oh, this is nice to meet you." He said, "I love the show. He's great."
Like?
He's bigger.
He's big.
He's tall.
6'8".
Yeah.
Is he really?
He's enormous.
Nah.
He's 6'8". He's enormous. Wow.
What happened?
My mom's height screwed me.
You see the matchups, obviously. You know who y'all are matched up against. Y'all are matched up with the Miami Regional. I think that's a hard regional for them. I think that there's a way that there could be super postseason baseball here at Alex Box if y'all take care of business and do what I expect y'all to do. I'm sure y'all expect y'all to do. Win, take care of business. Miami has to play Ole Miss, has to play. They have a tough draw. I know y'all aren't looking for it, y'all aren't looking at it, but like how cool would that be to be able to say, you know what, we didn't get that regional host that everybody kind of anticipated us getting, but now we have the super regional host, which is better than, if you had to pick one or the other, you'd rather pick the super regional, right? How exciting is that possibility, and how hard is it not to look ahead?
Yeah, it is hard not to look ahead, but like obviously we all are.
Yeah.
But,
I love the honesty.
But that'd be really cool just to kind of throw it in their face for not having us host a regional.
I mean, y'all feel like y'all should have hosted, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you
it's.
feel a little spurned?
Absolutely.
I mean, you look at Florida, you look at Auburn, like y'all finished ahead of them in the standings. Y'all had a better record than them in the conference standings, and they both got host. Like, I don't understand. I don't.
Yeah.
It feels like we're back in the BCS era where I don't know
Right.
what the numbers. Like I didn't pass a lot of
It's
a lot of
computers.
math classes.
Yeah,
but
it's a computer generated thing, and like it's just doesn't make, like RPI doesn't make sense to me sometimes.
I don't understand that at all.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
But all that together, putting in a team that has a road dog mentality,
no doubt.
kind of
Especially
serves
not
that squad
far down,
well.
not too long
Kinda
down, not too
serves that
far down
squad
the road
well.
either. You
Yeah.
know, like I'm gonna try to go at least to one of the games.
He says this a lot. He usually has like a
Falls
wedding
through,
or
yeah.
some weird thing. That he's
I got nothing going on, and now we have a sponsor who may take care of us over there.
Look at
See, now what happens.
Caesars.
Yeah, Caesar's going to take care of us and maybe give us some opportunity to go and hopefully host a show there. But you look at the other matchups, right? You look at the other regionals, the other, I guess what regionals are matched up where. What regionals intrigue you? Which ones are interested? Like, obviously, like when we played, we were focused on ours, but you also had interest in others. You want to see, like, oh, damn, that's a tough draw for these guys. Are they going to get out of it? I want to watch that regional. What other ones kind of caught your eye when you watched the selection show today?
NC State got robbed.
Yeah, I can't believe
I thought so,
that.
too.
2 years in a row.
I thought so too.
I thought NC State was gonna. They were gonna
I thought they were a 2-seed.
Well,
I
2
literally
seed
thought
won,
they were
and they got
2-seed.
last year. They got robbed with the whole COVID deal.
Yeah.
Like they probably should have won the national championship last year. And then I thought, okay, well, there's no way they're gonna rob them again. They didn't make the postseason.
Yeah.
Two of my best friends, like in the world, play for NC State.
Wow.
I just talked to them. I was like, they're like
They
shocked.
can't be
They're in
happy.
shock right now.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
a
they didn't join the
tough.
Zoom call.
yeah,
That's
They
a
were
tough.
not.
Outside of them getting robbed, who do you think has like, what regional intrigues you the most? Like, who do you think like, oh man, this team may not get out of the regional? And people
What was
may
the one with
think-
UCLA? I saw that one was tough.
Auburn.
I didn't. I don't know if
UCLA
I
and
saw that.
Auburn.
Oh yeah, there's like
Oh,
4
they're in
teams
the Auburn
in that.
regional.
I think so. And then Oklahoma and Florida are together.
Yeah, I think
That's
Oklahoma.
a-
I think Oklahoma
can win
beats them.
that.
I don't know if Florida
Yeah.
gets that. I don't know how they got it. I don't know how Florida got a host.
I know.
15-50. I know they got to the conference finals in the tournament, but like
They went with newer stadium, I think. That's how they put it together.
I mean,
Burn the thing down.
I can't believe their coach. I can't believe that he survived. They had a big issue with him last year.
He's been really just.
A lot of, he just sliding on there. I can't believe he survived. I thought he was gonna get fired.
Oh
He
god.
didn't.
He gave me the death stare on Saturday when I dapped up one of his players after our game, and before their game. Yeah, he was just
Did you
staring
have the
at us.
sunglasses on?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not. He's his former players don't really like him much either.
That's
not.
what I've heard too.
They
I don't say any names.
Yeah, they don't. I don't think. They
Don't
like
look at
him
my
much.
history and who I've played with. That's just what I've
Yeah,
heard.
he's just he's not my favorite person. I think he's a little all show. Same with the Tennessee guy. We're not gonna get into names there either. I want y'all to be. I think that they obviously aren't gonna match y'all up with Tennessee unless y'all make it to the finals. Which I hope y'all make it to the finals and push their shit in because
I would love to play them again.
I
We're
think that.
barreling them, man.
Yeah. How important has Ty Floyd been for the team? Because, going in last time you were on the show, we talked about the bullpen carrying the staff really, and not really having a rotation that has gone deep into games. You have Mik'd, who's been pretty nails, right? He's been a bulldog, no matter what. Like he gave up 2 runs, the first inning, right? His last start, and he went 6 innings, right? Like he's one of those guys that no matter what happens, you feel like he's going to go out there and he's going to give you 6 innings at least. And you never had that guy Saturday or Sunday. Ty Floyd, I feel like the last 6 outings has done that.
Yeah.
He was great in the tournament. I mean, he was 94 to 98. Like he was landing his breaking ball. How important has he been to the rotation and to give y'all some break off the innings that y'all are throwing?
Oh yeah, he's huge. I mean, Ty is one of my favorite players to watch, and when he's on,
I think he made
he's got
himself.
a crush
I think
on
he made
Ty,
himself some
Ty Floyd's
money.
my favorite player. That's my favorite.
That's your favorite player?
Yeah,
I love
my favorite
that.
player.
I love
yeah,
that.
no, but,
Got his baseball card.
Yeah, he signed it for you. You got some autographs.
He's got a favorite player and a favorite World Series. We know this.
That's it. That's it. That's
Dickie
it.
Matsui.
Jesus. Look him up. Big porn collection. Look him up.
Yeah, look it up.
No, there was not coin collection either.
no, he's been huge. Though.
Yeah.
And him just when we don't have to pitch 3 times in a weekend, or him going 6-7 innings, so it saves the bullpen is awesome. So that way, when he's going, we know teams aren't going to hit him because he's got legit stuff.
You believe whenever you have Barry and Doty full strength on the lineup, which they probably are going to be this weekend, y'all can beat anybody.
Anybody.
Oh yeah.
Like
I think even if it's not full strength too, like they'll probably speak to this. Like at this point of the year, if you can do it, your health kind of goes like out of the window.
No doubt.
Like, it's like I'm here.
No doubt.
All
If I
hands on
can
deck
swing
at
a
this
bat, put me in there.
All hands
You know
on
what I
deck
mean?
at this
No
point,
doubt.
yeah.
I think that y'all have been battle tested. Y'all have gone through some adversity. Y'all have had some ups and downs. Y'all have been up high. Y'all have been down low, and then y'all
It's up, and it's
regrouped.
up, and it's up, and it's down. So I just got back from Las Vegas. Every song is in my head.
I think there's some teams out there that haven't faced that. And I think that's important to be able to have to go through some adversity, get through it, to be able to make the run in the postseason. Do y'all feel that? Do y'all feel like y'all are pretty battle tested? Y'all are pretty scarred a little bit? Like you've been through the bumps and bruises and y'all have gotten through it, and y'all are in a position right now to make a deep run?
And that's whether you've come on the upside of it or the downside. Just going through it gives you better opportunity and better reasoning of how to go. Do y'all feel like y'all have seen some stuff that'll allow y'all to be successful here?
Yeah, I think so. It's because I feel like the downs were pretty down, and ups are up. Like
Especially here, though, because you have the media is like
yeah,
college baseball
Twitter,
media here is
crazy.
yeah,
Tiger
it's crazy.
Yeah.
See, they know what it is.
That had to be news for you. You're like, what is this website?
I heard about it during inter squad. Like in the fall, they would come and write about it. I went and read it one time, and
guy went to
like,
Gotta stay off Tiger
Gervais is
droppings.
not a reliable option.
If you read Tiger droppings, everybody on the team needs to
Hey,
transfer.
here's a funny story about Tiger droppings. I was in college. I was in the Cox Auditorium, stadium seating, obviously. I was in the back. I was sitting in class, and there was this guy in front of me, probably 2 rows in front of me. He's about 5'6", 265 pounds.
Bro, say
right?
my name.
Balding, right? Younger
never
guy, logs into Tiger droppings and starts typing on Tiger droppings about our team. I'm like, okay, if this is the guy typing in there, like,
Wait, did he know you were behind him?
no, because I walked through the back. Like I walked
Good
through the.
Lord.
I'm like, okay, if this guy is the one that's writing all the stuff and making the decisions on Tiger droppings, then this has zero credibility.
Exactly.
So you gotta stay off of that. That's bullshit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tell that to Paul.
You know, sometimes you gotta know what's going on. You gotta know.
You gotta- yeah.
You have to feel.
He just wanted to be in the know, you know?
Yeah, you gotta know the pulse of the fans. What do y'all have any big Memorial Day plans? Beach, maybe. I mean beach. Not beach. Pool. Maybe pool.
We were talking about it.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
trying.
little boys at the pool. You don't have practice there or anything, right?
Nah.
Yeah, give you
That's
the day
all.
off. You had a long weekend. Relax.
It's a very
That
buttoned up
was-
answer by y'all. I appreciate that.
I'm gonna let y'all go. I know. it's
Wait, I do
tomorrow.
have a couple questions.
Okay. Yeah,
First
go
of
for
all,
it.
you see the regional, you see how it matches up. Obviously, Tennessee felt like a little chip on the shoulder. It looked like whenever you saw Hoover line up, it felt like y'all were looking at Tennessee the entire time, right? Like, is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, they're the
Absolutely.
team to beat.
Yeah, and it felt like y'all both have that kind of little chip on your shoulder. Like, they want to talk, y'all want to chirp a little bit. You saw what happened at Florida. But now you see LSU going to Hattiesburg, which is fine. But then there's an avenue wherever you're able to come back, and maybe your old squad, Arizona, might be coming to the box.
Yeah.
Speak a little bit about that and how it might feel to have your old boys coming back here with your head coach.
That would be pretty cool. That's just perfectly lined up. Like,
It
there's,
feels
there's
like
no,
the season's
yeah,
They were gonna do that. Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like there's no way, but also it's like that'd be cool though. Like,
But it feels like that's how the whole season's gone. Like, everything's been like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and it just like this might line up perfectly for like it would be a storybook.
yeah, I think that'd be really fun. I think we'd whoop on them, but
Scouting report.
yeah, it'd be fun to hang out with them though.
I'm not
after the
predicting
win,
Have a
anything,
couple
but
drinks after.
yeah,
not
after.
you.
Yeah,
Not
no,
you,
I
'cause you don't
yeah.
drink. But
they won't fly
you'll buy
on
them
to
a
the
drink.
next day. You know?
Yeah, next day.
Because they got Ole Miss and Arizona in that
Yeah.
regional. Obviously, Jay beat Ole Miss last year when he was at Arizona, and he's got obviously Arizona coming in. I don't think Miami gets out of that regional. I know you have to take care of business here, but I really don't think they get out of that. And if they do, I get to go to Miami. That's kind of fun too. So, they're ready.
Talk about Memorial Day plans. We're moving
Yeah, I
back.
know. Look, I'm blessed. Yeah.
For Miami.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all coming through. I really do. I'm fired up for y'all. I'm looking forward to this postseason. Obviously, we'll be watching, and then once y'all win, if y'all win, y'all gotta just keep coming back on. For sure. Obviously, I mean, y'all are guests of the show. Y'all are regulars now, so
Absolutely.
back on.
Exactly right.
I can't get the other guys on, but I can get y'all on. That's all that matters.
for sure.
Y'all keep shoving it up their ass, and y'all keep coming back on. We'll have some fun.
Sounds good.
Enjoy y'all's Memorial Day. Good luck this weekend, and I'll be watching.
Good luck,
All right,
boys.
man. Appreciate you, boys. All right,
Shove.
take a 30-second break. Watching Mik'd Up, brought to you by
Say it like
Sterling
that.
Huh?
Tell me what.
Welcome back to Mik'd Up. We are brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Why are you laughing at me? He didn't even count this time. He just points at me. He's so
changing
bossy.
it up every time.
So
now.
bossy.
He
He got in
with
with Jay's wife. Jay's wife says she's a fan of him.
Oh, she
Not even
is.
me, of him
So
on the
he's
show.
feeling good.
So he's feeling good. She said, I want to sit next to you during the game. We can talk. I'm like, this is not good.
What is the mindset? Like,
She thinks he's
Crackhead
funny.
mentality.
I know,
going.
but what does that mean?
I mean, you've never seen somebody grind harder than a crackhead. They want drugs more than anything.
When we saw that shit, we thought things different. That's how he sees it.
Yeah,
So
I
there you go.
didn't. That's a positive to you. That's cool.
It is.
I mean, I would think that you crackheads don't you can't get in their head because they just.
Oh, that too. Yeah. You
They
can't
don't lose
break me.
fights either,
But
apparently.
nobody
They don't
works
lose
harder than
fights.
somebody that's addicted to something.
Should
I
I
think
start
it's
using
grind.
that, like with the pictures?
Absolutely.
Like-
I think I already got
We're
proof
going
on the
for a crackhead
crackhead mentality. Yes.
Anything that works.
Well,
Welcome
to the show,
Thank you.
JK. It's
about time.
Kelly. It's about time. I know.
I've been watching from the
I
sidelines.
know. I had to get in with the boss man
No, I get
first.
it.
You
I
know
get
how it
it.
works.
I
And
get
have
it.
to get the
Call 'em
boys
in.
in.
Got to get those ratings, right?
That's right.
That's it. Speaking of the boys,
Yeah.
the job that you've done with the pitching staff, obviously the depth of the starters hasn't probably been what you wanted to, but the bullpen has been pretty nails. It's pretty carried the team, really the rotation probably for the entire season up until, say, 4 weeks ago when Ty Floyd kind of took over that second starter role. How important has that been for the rotation and for the team?
Well, if you're watching, it kind of felt like we were getting to the end of using these guys the way we were using them. You know, you could just feel like, oh, man. And Ty came in at the perfect time. He made some adjustments while he was in his downtime and came back great. And he's kind of given those guys a little bit of relief to be able to give us 5 or 6 innings so that the bullpen isn't as taxed as it was in the middle.
What were
Was
some
that,
of the, oh, go
I was
ahead.
about to say, was that something that's been actually relayed and like communicated to Ty, or is that something you think he kind of understood himself by taking over that role and kind of being able to run with it?
It wasn't. We didn't put any pressure on him to do
Right.
that, but he advanced so much with the slider and with the curveball that the confidence just went through the roof.
Yeah.
And I think we did a decent job of getting him some relief time where he could have some success against lineups where he could have some success to just get him going a little bit. And
Right.
then what you saw on Friday night was, I mean,
Yeah.
that was top 3-4 round stuff and against the best hitting team in the country, and he didn't flinch. So.
So the adjustments were obviously his breaking ball, he's landing his breaking ball, he's throwing his slider. What were the adjustments? Was it changing the grip? Was it just having more confidence in throwing those pitches? What did y'all work on over that downtime to make him make that adjustment?
It was a little bit of everything. He hadn't found a good curveball grip. And so about halfway through the fall, we kind of went slider because it wasn't taking like a man. And we talked earlier, when you get a new job, it's hard to really tinker in the fall with them because the last thing you want to do as a pitching coach is come in and be like, hey, man, everything you do sucks.
Right.
So we're going to start over.
Breaking
You know what I mean?
ball's
Like,
not breaking.
Yeah. And so they're looking at you going, hey, man, I'm at LSU.
Right.
Had some
You're
starts
the new
last
guy.
year. Yeah, like
Can't be that bad.
I'm pretty good. So you've got to kind of find the right time to make some of those adjustments. And he didn't adjust right away in the fall. And then when he struggled in the starting role and we kind of took him out of that role, I think we found a grip. And I think it backed him in a corner a little bit. And I talked about this with the pitchers. I said, hey, I didn't do a lot to help him. Like, he did most of it.
Right.
Showed him a couple of things. We talked about a little bit of front side stuff on the mechanical end of it. He fixed it, and then all of a sudden you just saw it, and you're like, oh, man, it's coming. It's coming. Now, can it happen in a game? I don't know. Then he comes in that relief, throws a couple breakers, and everyone's like, oh, no, this is good for us.
Yeah.
How important has it been for the staff? Because, I mean, you already touched on it a little bit. How important has it been for the staff to understand or to actually be able to find a second consecutive arm that can go out there and give you innings, knowing that our bullpen's really good. We've used them a lot, but that can only go so far when you go through a season.
Because y'all gave opportunity to there's been the opportunity's been there, right? You just waited for someone to go in there and grab it.
Right.
And he seems like he finally did it. And you've had some freshmen out there that have thrown well, but haven't really obviously the freshmen, so it's hard to sustain that. Like, how important has that been?
It's been huge. I mean, that's gonna. Like we talked earlier, 3 weeks ago, I thought we were holding on by a thread.
Right.
Like, I'm like, I don't know if we can sustain this. I don't.
And that speaks nothing to the talent or ability.
No,
it's just it's hard to do that.
The way we were
Usage
using them,
rate,
we can't
it's
keep
hard to
doing
do.
it this
Yeah.
way. Like, you can't keep asking your bullpen to throw 20 innings a weekend like we did at Alabama. Like, you just can't do it. So him stepping up has been huge for us. And I heard Jay talk about this a little bit. He does special things that you can't prepare for. Like, you can't prepare for that vertical break. Like, you can put the machine on and you can do all this, but as you guys know, when you get in there and you swing underneath that first heater, you're like, oh man,
Where'd that go?
this is better than
keeps
I
going.
thought.
Yeah.
Like, and so it plays tricks on your eyes, and so a team, especially like Tennessee, that's trying to hit homers and trying to drive the ball, they take some bad swings against him. So if he matches up against the right team, which I heard Jay talk about earlier, then he's gonna have a ton of success.
I think like you said, when you watch him pitch, especially the last couple of weeks, the amount of discipline it takes in your approach to be able to have success against him, it's tough.
Yeah, guys, you guys know guys want to hit.
Yeah.
Like, Jay can do whatever he wants pregame and say, hey, don't do this, don't chase here. But when you get in the box, you want to be a dude.
wanna hit.
Bases are loaded, one
take
out.
you out
You're
the
like,
box.
You're not gonna walk your way
nope,
to the
I'm
big
doing
leagues.
this.
Right.
I'm doing this, and they chase, and that's we're relying on that.
Yeah.
And I tell the pitchers that all the time. Guys want to be guys, so you get them in those positions, to where it's like the game's on the line, the bases are loaded, the fans are cheering. that's why you throw 3-2 breaking balls, because
No
you swing
doubt.
at it every
and the
time.
more consistent you are throwing strikes, the more likely it is that guy is going to chase. Like if you're not around the zone, I'm not chasing. Like I know, like you're okay. Now I'm really going to hunt it.
Yeah, you coffee cup that.
But if you're all around the zone,
And like you said, like with him being able to do this and then finding a curveball that does that, look, man, it's so hard to see that pitch that starts here. One, figure out if it's going here, we'll figure out if it's going to stay here,
And
figure out if it's going to ride here.
People don't talk about that vertical. It helps on the bottom half of the zone
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Because you
I
think it's a ball.
I think that's more dangerous than
You
the
take
top.
it.
No
You
doubt.
think it's a ball, and then it's right there, and you're like, gosh, I can't zone in on that ball down there and take this ball.
Well, it kind of changes the game too for him, because a guy like him, like no one wants to live in the middle of the plate, but when he can do this and it can ride, and he can do this and it can ride.
The middle plate's okay.
Middle plate it becomes
You don't have to be
completely
perfect.
different,
You
right?
You don't east and
Exactly.
west him very much. You kind of keep that pitcher in the, or the catcher in the middle and say, throw rockets, man.
Yeah. How important has, like, obviously analytics has been the buzzword around baseball and around really all sports right now.
Yeah.
I'm the guy, I like analytics. I think the information is really good. I don't think analytics tell you the whole story. I think it gives you a lot of good information, but if you don't know how to use that information, I don't think that it's useless. I think it's not helpful if you don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
How important has analytics been in your development of these guys? And do they understand? Do they understand how they, because some people chase the analytics, and that's not a good thing either.
Yeah.
Like how do you balance that?
Yeah, it's hard. What we're learning now is you have to have that information, and that's great. But that's like having, a social studies teacher that just gives you the notes.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're like, okay,
Hell
I got
yeah.
the info.
Right.
Now
What do I do with it?
Now what do I do?
Right.
Like, how do I study this? How do I pass the test? And so you have to have somebody that can translate that information and say, hey, this is what your ball is doing, so here's how we're going to benefit that. Here's how we're going to make it good for you.
Right.
And our guys especially, they've kind of grown up with this now. This isn't new to them.
Right.
They've been indoor on TrackMan, on Rapsodo since they were 15 years old.
Built-in labs.
Yeah. Now they don't always know exactly how it's going to help them.
Right.
So that's my job and Jamie Tucko's job, and Jamie does a great job with us on just bringing out. To me, I'm busy. Like I can do it, but I'm doing scouting reports and
you have 20 pitchers,
20 guys
yeah.
that I'm trying to herd and
you use all of them.
and we got to use them all, and it's just. But Jamie does a lot of digging for me, and will come in my office, close the door, and be like, "Hey, here's what Blake Money's doing. I think we need to move him to this side of the rubber because this, and this." And then you look at it, and you're like, "Oh man, that's a good point. Let's do it."
Right.
And you do it, and now his horizontal has just gone from 4 to now -6. So
Right.
now he's getting life. You're like, okay. So it's just, it gets you, it's things that I've been doing for 20 years, but was doing it standing in.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're in there and you're going,
Right.
Yeah, something's
not right.
Yeah,
Like, let's change your grip.
Yeah.
Oh, that's better. Now you can do boom right away.
Right.
Your true spin's terrible. Oh, we
Yeah.
got to change your grip.
Right.
So is that what you did with Blake? Y'all changed his grip to make him, because he wasn't. Did he always have movement, or did y'all make it to change it to have movement
we've
now?
gone a little bit more two-seamer,
Okay.
just to kind of get off the barrel a little bit.
Yeah.
In some of those, the 2-1s, the 3-1 counts, trying to get the ball on the ground.
It's kind of crazy too how long it's taken the wave of baseball to understand that. Look, you can have analytics. It is great when it's used in the right situation, but you have to have people who understand and know baseball as well. Like you can't just sit there
But
and
you have
say,
to
"Hey, the
understand-
sheet says this, so you need to do that." It
Yeah, and you have to have
doesn't,
people that have played it to like you said,
that's
that
what
can
I'm saying.
that can say, okay,
He understands analytics,
No doubt.
But it takes for him, like it used to take for him. Hey, let me step in the box, see what this looks like. All right, let's kind of figure out what this thing's
Well,
doing.
and you can sit down. When we went to Houston, I got to sit down with Bregman a little bit, and you can give him, like you guys probably could, you can give him a sheet with all the pitching characteristics, and he'll scout and report it in 45 seconds.
Yeah.
He'll be like, here's what he's going to try and do. Here's what I'm good at. Here's what he's going to try and do to me. Not even seeing 1 second of
Right.
video.
Yeah.
So when you put it in a guy's hands like that, or like we were talking earlier, Verlander or Garrett Cole, now you've got something. 'Cause
Yeah.
those guys get it, and they know how to execute it.
And there's a
Our
trash can
guys,
involved.
you can pretty much do that without even numbers. You can get heat maps.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Year, last 2 weeks,
Even
last
my
start,
scouting
and kind of
has
figure out
gone
what's going on.
less video.
Right.
Like you used to sit and grind and
Right.
just watch these teams
Right.
over and over and be like, oh, he chases this pitch. Now, so much information is put in front of you that by the time I even get to the video,
Yeah.
I've got a pretty good idea of what
Right.
we're going to do because
Right.
of heat maps, because of batting average against each count, each pitch. You're just like, my desk looks like
Yeah.
a lab.
Right.
And because there's just crap everywhere.
Right.
So here's a question, because there's a happy medium in this too, right? You talk about heat maps and like what the hitter does well, right? Like, so if I'm hitting and you see my heat zones, right?
Yep.
And let's say you have Ty Floyd on the mound, right? And you know what he does really well.
Yep.
how hard is it to balance? Like, okay, do I pitch to his weaknesses, or do I pitch to his? Does my pitcher use his strengths, or do I pitch to his weaknesses? Right? Like, if his breaking ball is not, if his slider is his third best pitch, and this guy doesn't hit sliders very well, would you rather risk that and like make a mistake and end up being in the hot zone, or say, okay, I'm going to throw what he hits well, but I'm going to try to make sure I locate it?
And think about this, like with a heat map for college baseball. In the big leagues, you get a heat map, you know who they're facing.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, that's
Right.
pretty good. Like they're facing big leaguers. When you get a heat map for a college, who did they play Tuesday?
Right.
That dude might have been
85
throwing,
miles an hour?
Yeah, he was throwing 79 mile an hour two-seamers. Like, go down and in. Oh, sure. They played Tennessee last weekend. Their rotation throws 100.
Right.
Elevate away. Yeah. I don't know if I have 5 guys that I can do that with. Right. So you've got to translate it all to them. Right. I'm always going to be strength of the pitcher.
Strength, right.
And as you know, it's about timing. Yeah. So if we're facing Mikie Mahtook and you handle the ball up and away and you're facing Ty Floyd, we're still going to go up and away. We're just going to get it there when you're not ready for it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We're still going to get you out in your strength, but we're going to do it maybe when you're not exactly
and I guess that goes literally back to just literally what I said. Like, analytics are great, but you have to understand baseball as well, right? Like, when analytics first came in, it was, hey, Mikie Mahtook hits this pitch well, don't do it. Well, that's this guy's bread and butter on the mound. You can't go away from it.
And you think that he doesn't know?
Right. You can't go.
Somebody's sitting down with you going, hey, man, you're not handling the ball down very well.
Right.
So here's what they're going to do to you. So you're like, all right, I'm going to dip and I'm going
to figure it out. Yeah, no doubt. I think that's the hard thing about baseball is like, hey, this is what the computer says to do. This is what you should do. Like, yeah, I get that, but like, I want to go down swinging with my best pitch. Like, I don't want to. If I'm not confident in throwing that, I don't want to throw that.
Because stuff like that comes back to what baseball has been literally since day one. If I'm on the mound, my only real job is rhythm and timing. Try to screw that up. That's really all I'm trying to do.
When you talk to pitchers about that, it's like, you can't concern these kids with some of that information.
Right.
Like, so I call the game. So how much scouting do I give to them? Enough. We'll break down guys that can't beat us, base runners, certain things.
Right.
But for the most part, I just want them to trust me. Like, if I call elevate. Like, let's just do it.
Right.
And at first, and people all around the country are like, you can't do that. It doesn't gain them experience. But that's what they want at this age.
Right.
Like, if you were in college and your third base coach is telling you what to sit on, you're going, okay.
I'm going to sit on it.
Like, I don't have any fear.
Right.
My boss is now telling me.
Yeah, right.
Arms are crossed.
Yeah. Look, breaking ball.
Yeah.
So if he throws a heater and I take it,
it's okay.
is he going to be pissed? No. He told me to look for something else. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you're like, give me the cheat sheet.
He'll be more mad at you if you say, hey, said breaking ball. He said, okay, and you swing at the fastball and you're in between and you get out.
And you pop up. And
like,
pop wasn't the
late on it. You give it him, you know what I mean? You chase.
Hitting's hard, right? You could throw 5 pitches right down the middle and get them out, right?
Yeah.
Like, so.
And what it's done is experience. You can't replace experience.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, on the coaching end, on the players' end, on any part of it, experience, the numbers are great. But and with our players now, and this is the world we live in, they only see the good stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, when they scroll Twitter, they only see homers from Tennessee, from Ole Miss, from whoever we're playing. They don't see what I see, where it's like, no, dude, I watched that dude strike out 11 of 16 times.
Yeah.
Right? But you're scrolling going, these guys rake. Like, we have no shot.
No doubt.
And I'm going, no, man, we're going to be fine because I've seen the bad. You know, they watch Sports Center and all they see is Stanton hitting homers.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, but the dude was like 1 for his last 17.
Right.
Like
30% strikeout rate right
and
now.
he hit one to the moon. Cool. But, you know.
And him and I have talked about this too in the past is when you said, when you watch Twitter, you watch these clips, you watch Sports Center, you watch the top plays.
Yeah.
More times than not, these clips are being made off of balls that are a good bit center cut.
Oh, man.
Or you see the guy literally stepping in the bucket, hitting a pitch that's off. Like, it's never – you don't see guys living on the corner doing crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it just is what it is.
You guys know the game has changed. Like, when I was a player, you give up a homer, it was like you're terrible.
Yeah.
You're a bad pitcher.
Yeah.
Now you give up a homer, and it's just like, well, that's solo. I'm going to strike out the next 5 guys.
Right.
There's give and take with everything.
Yeah.
So the game has changed, but what our guys see isn't always the truth of it. You know, it's like you watch SportsCenter, Steph Curry makes every shot. Right?
Yeah.
But then you watch the game, you're like, is he like 11 for 22?
Yeah, how did he miss?
He's missed half of them.
And 50% is great.
Yeah.
But like, he doesn't make them all.
Yeah, exactly. So you're like, you just get a little bit jaded onto what's important. And our guys, they do too. So
obviously you said you called the pitches, right? That's a normal thing in college baseball. Professional baseball in the big leagues, the catchers call the games. Have you ever had guys, like if you have conflict with the guy behind the dish?
Are they? It's coming.
Well,
maybe
it's
not
coming.
as much now. They used to all call the game.
They're
Now,
getting
if you don't have a guy,
The big leagues are getting they're
Yeah.
getting a little more involved.
Yeah.
Now, if you had a pitcher shake you off,
They have freedom to do it.
okay,
Yeah.
that was my question. Like if they say I don't feel good throwing this one, now do they have to come in the dugout and explain to you why they shook you off?
Not in particular, especially with off speed.
Yeah.
So if McHale or Ty Floyd, I don't go to the 3-2 breaking ball,
Right.
And they go, hey, why not 3-2 breaking ball there? And I'm like, the last one you threw, it was up and away. I just didn't feel it. No, I'm good. Well, then go to it, man. Like, I can't feel that from you.
Yeah.
I can do a good job of knowing what you do well because I watch everything. I pay attention. I've watched you have success. I watched you fail, all that stuff. But if you've got the feeling, do it, own it. What I hate is that conversation afterwards.
Yeah.
When they come in and they're like, damn, I wanted to shake. I'm like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear
the
it.
shake.
Like, I'm not talking about what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
either you're going to do this or you're not.
Yeah.
Because I do the same thing. But
So it's basically you're preaching to these guys, have conviction.
Go for it.
In what you're doing, or else don't come to me with anything.
And you have do you have conversations with these guys beforehand, like on their game plan, or is it, hey, this is what I see, this is what we're gonna do?
A little bit. It's more of a general game plan.
Okay.
I don't like them because when I'm calling the game, I will deviate from the scouting report a lot.
Use your eyeballs.
Yeah, because I'm like, man, what I saw in video was a little bit different.
Right.
Or he's facing Hilliard. He's moved up in the box. He's trying to take away the breaking ball. Well, is McHale going to see that?
Right.
Is our catcher going to see that?
Right.
Now I see it.
Right.
So there's some things that they're not ready for.
Yeah.
And the catchers, they don't have time. Yadier Molina can get to the yard at 9:30
Right.
in the morning,
that's all their
sit
job.
there
That's
for
their job.
4 hours, break everything down. Tyler McManus got to go class.
And even if he doesn't, Yadi's got so much more experience of learning this stuff. It's just it comes a lot easier for him.
And then put some analytics in front of Yadi, and now you've got experience plus raw data. You're like, man, him and Wainwright are going to carve people.
Yeah.
Under first 5.
That's it. You're at UW.
Yep.
And then you went to ASU, so you're on the West Coast. How has the transition been moving from the West Coast type style of baseball? Because the styles are different.
Yeah.
Right? West Coast is a little different than the SEC. How has the transition been for you as a pitch caller, as a pitching coach, moving from there to here?
It's been good. The ballparks are a problem.
Yeah.
Like the ballparks in the SEC are ridiculous.
They want you at home.
Yeah, they want. I
They
mean, I
want
get
offense.
it.
They
I
want
get it.
offense,
And
yeah.
you want
dig
people.
it.
I mean, this is one of the bigger parts
Yeah,
here.
and everyone telling me like, no, you guys got the big ballpark. I'm like, God.
Now
Check the wind.
center field plays
You
big
can
here.
you can pitch to the middle,
Yeah.
but as you guys know, the last 2 weeks of the season
Yeah. Oh, when
starts
yeah.
to you're like, oh God, a whole different place.
Gets warmer, shorts get shorter, balls
Yep.
fly out.
That's a good
thing here.
But the transition's been great. I mean, obviously coming here it blew my mind. I mean, it was. I tell a story. When I just gotten the job, I didn't go home, so I just stayed. My wife went home. I'm like, I'm gonna stay, get on the recruiting trail. We got to go. So I was staying at a hotel. So I went into walk-ons after work here, and I was staying late.
Thanks for recruiting. Yeah, that
I
counts.
didn't have any family, so I was staying late. So I went into walk-ons like 9:30 or 10. I go to the bar. I sit in the very corner, right, and I'm gonna get a salad and steak, right.
Yeah.
Order a Coors Light, and the lady's like, "Yep, okay." So she brings it up. She goes, "Congratulations, coach," and I'm like,
Huh?
Yeah. I'm a pitching coach.
like, she's
This
like,
is
"Oh,
college
you've
baseball?"
been on TV all day, like." And I'm just like, oh, this is different. This is
It's a different animal.
Like this is you're walking through Trader Joe's,
Yeah.
and some salty old dog's like, Coach, when are you gonna get Fontenot going? And I'm like,
Oh, you breaking ball.
A little different level of care, right?
I'm just trying to get some,
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
some
go
frozen
grocery
shit.
shopping,
Yeah, I'm
man.
trying to get some lasagna, and so that part of it has been, and I don't. It's not that I don't like that, but I'm kind of a homebody,
Yeah.
like let me find a dark place to have dinner,
Yeah.
and but it's been awesome. The fans have been great. My family, my kids go to the lab school. They've been unbelievable to them and helping them. So the transition's been really good. The weather thing, I'm working on it.
Yeah, it's
tough.
humid.
Yeah,
Hey,
the
It's
big
hot.
fellas don't like that humidity.
But we talked about the dry heat and this kind of heat.
I'm
This
all about
heat's
the dry
different.
heat.
Yeah.
This heat's different.
I can
I just
take
came out of Texas. I'd rather Texas heat over this heat.
This
Really?
heat, this heat's
Even
different,
that.
man.
I mean, this is different.
I could take the 115 in Arizona.
Yeah.
because
I've
you
said
can
the
hide a
same
little
thing.
bit. And
Yeah, it's tough, man.
But This is not good for the big fella.
You get used to the dry
A lot
nose
of,
thing on the
lot of
West
black
Coast,
shirts
you
for
get-
me nowadays.
Stay away from the color.
No grays, no. Yeah, I'm out on that.
Purple works. The purple works.
Purple's okay, yeah, but the big guy doesn't look that good in purple either, so I'm running out of choices.
As far as competition goes, right?
Yeah.
As far as obviously you have extremely talented players everywhere around the country. You have extremely talented players coming through the West Coast. And I may be biased because I came through here, but
Yeah.
I feel like the talent top to bottom from different teams, from the number one team, Tennessee, to I don't even know who was the last, Missouri, I guess. I don't know who the last team was. How does the talent compare here to other places?
It's deeper.
Yeah.
And
Top to bottom.
there's a couple of reasons, in my opinion. One is there's such a connection to the schools here that we didn't have on the West.
Yeah.
Like, kids didn't go to the University of Washington a lot of times because they were born and raised Huskies. Like, there's a couple, but USC, Arizona State, like, that doesn't happen a lot on the recruiting trail. Here, you have kids that are like, I wanted to be a Tiger since the day I was born. I wanted to go to Ole Miss, and so that, this, that, and the other. And kids don't sign out here
Right.
because of that.
Right.
So Dylan Cruz will go to school.
Right.
If Dylan Cruz is on the West Coast,
Yeah, he's not coming.
guy's a 7th pick in the draft.
Right.
He's gone.
Right.
The kids on the West, they sign.
Yeah.
And it's over scouted, and sometimes those kids are over drafted.
Right.
Because they just get seen so.
Well, and that was my other question. Is like you go to, and really even in Florida. Like Florida is such a big hotbed for baseball, right? Texas, California. You have all these guys that are going through the showcase circuit of, and like growing up, we used to call them showcase players. Like, oh, this guy can run and throw and hit, but like lights come on and he stinks.
Yeah.
Right. He can't do it, but he gets drafted and he becomes a bust. And you come down here and you have guys like, K. Doty was pretty highly touted, but you have guys like Zach Watson was here a few years ago, and small town in Louisiana, always wanted to go to LSU. And nobody really saw him. They didn't really know much about him.
Build too.
Yeah, but then he comes here and he hits double-digit homers and like he's kind of got this raw talent. I feel like you don't get that other places because they're a little bit more polished, but they don't really have that maybe drive. To play.
There's some of that. Like, the West is over scouted, over recruited, over. I mean, you'll see kids
Helicopter parents
since they're 13 years old.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, how many times I've watched this kid play?
Yeah.
Like, not trying to watch this kid
Right.
play.
Right.
And here I feel like there are more diamonds in the rough. You look under a couple rocks, like you said, a small town, a small school, and you can find a guy.
I mean, look at the guy at Southern Miss.
Oh, I know.
From Zachary. Now, I don't know how highly touted he was coming out, but he was their midweek guy for a little bit this year. Now he's their ace.
Yeah.
So, like, that guy came from Zachary.
Because Milazzo obviously went to school with him and Collier, that he was like 84.
Yeah.
With a little bit of sink and a good changeup, which, as you guys know, that's not sexy when you're at LSU.
No doubt.
Now, that's baseball's, as you guys obviously know, you can't determine when it happens.
Right.
Like
Gervais?
Yeah, we're putting a label on 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like,
17, 15.
Exactly.
14.
West Coast 10.
But when you talk about the draft, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is what he's going to be. And you're like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Not only does he have to get better, but he has to be able to grind through the minor leagues. You're putting $3 million in his pocket. How's he going to handle that?
Right.
How's he going to handle
Being away from home?
Being away from home.
Playing every day.
The nightlife with money in your pocket. The people, as you guys understand, pro ball's not full of angels.
No.
I mean,
no.
They'll pull you in a lot of directions
and failure.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you get drafted out of high school,
Well, that's why I said
you've
playing
never
every day,
failed
because
in life.
there's not, unless you're a starter, like, there are so many opportunities, so many more opportunities to fail, dude. Like, it's tough. Like, I don't care who you are, you're gonna go through a rut, and it's tough to do it for a week straight, 2 weeks
There's
straight.
no break.
And there's no break of it.
And
you come back and it's the same
you get
thing.
to ease into that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've always said I would value he got more money coming out of high school than I didn't. I got drafted in the 39th round of high school. Like I was coming here, even if I got drafted in the second round, I wasn't ready mentally as a baseball player to leave. Right after playing here for 3 years and seeing how much better I got as a player. Because athletically I could have gone. Like athletically I didn't change. It was just up here I changed. I would value my time here at between $2 and $3 million.
Exactly.
That's going to LSU and being in a situation where you're going to play against some of the best competition. But I think kids see the money and they're like, oh, I got to go and do it. I'm like, no. Dylan Cruz wanted $5 million out of high school. He's going to come here and he's going to get double that.
Not even just that, too. I think the kids nowadays value, I want to be a professional, but you don't realize, like, especially at a school like this and a conference like this, like, you're not going to touch any of this until you get to half a AA spots to AAA spots. Other than that, this ain't what you're gonna do on a daily basis.
And you get better facilities than anywhere you're gonna get. You get better facilities here than the big leagues.
No, that's my point.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna touch anything near some of this stuff until you get to maybe some AA spots, AAA spots into the big leagues.
And I didn't get it. I mean, I got it, and coming to the SEC had always been a goal, this, that, and the other. But you don't get it until you're part of it. Mm-hmm. And last week, really, I was like, oh, this is.
The tournament.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Tournament.
I think I've said this. I think
Houston was awesome with Texas.
Yeah,
that was cool.
But
this was like, whoa.
To me, Hoover. Now,
that's worth it just in itself.
100%. I mean, Ty Floyd probably made $500,000 extra of whatever he was going to make from that tournament because of how he pitched. Because the scouts are there, they're seeing the guys. I'm sorry. He's coming back. He's still got 2 more years after this year. He's got
so much leverage.
He's got so much leverage to come back.
When you seriously though, when you go to SEC tournament and you step on the field and you just take one look around, you just gaze one time around, and you see the care, and then you look right behind home plate and you're like, what the all right, this is different. Yeah. This is completely different.
Take out the national championship possibility. Mm-hmm. I think Hoover, the SC tournament, is a more fun and more more valuable tournament for the player than Omaha.
Well, because what happens
take out winning the championship.
I think you would agree with this because what could happen is you could run into the diamond in the rough hot team that is not super talented in Omaha. But they just got hot. Yeah. They just got super hot at the right time. Yeah. My point is you go to the SEC tournament and you're like, okay,
the best.
Well, and there's just a little different edge because you kind of hate those guys.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's not like you go to Omaha and when I was at Washington, we opened with Mississippi State, and you're just like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I don't know anything about them really.
But in the SEC tournament, you open up with Mississippi State, you're like,
fuck these dudes.
Yeah, and there's no telling what kind of history you had this year, last year, all that. Yeah.
It just we were the starter was playing catch so Ty's playing catch. And Drew Finley, our grad assistant, is with me, and he kind of helps chart the bullpen stuff. Mm-hmm. And we're just standing there, and I go, "Hey, man, you got to take a video of this," because the LSU fans are LSU, and the Tennessee fans are going "Go Big Orange" or whatever their cheer is, and they're going back and forth. And this is 15 minutes for the game. Right. And I'm like, we need to put that on our recruiting page. Mm-hmm. Like, we need to get that out because that's goosebumps. And it doesn't matter if you played in the big leagues, played in the World Series. You're still just like,
we were talking about it. This is why we really wanted, and we hope there's still postseason baseball here because it's when you finally get postseason baseball here, it's the first time you come out for when you're taking in and out, and you're like, gee, there's noise in the stands. There's people here. Like there's buzz in the crowd already.
Yeah, that would be obviously that's the goal, and our guys. I hope that we can win this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you'll have a legitimate chance because obviously I like the matchup. Mm-hmm. I think Miami has a very hard regional, and I think that it's not a given that they get out of it. And if LSU we win our regional and they lose their regional, we host a super regional, correct?
I don't know
how that works.
I mean, that's. I mean, look at me. I don't know, but that's what the thing seems to be that's the case.
Yeah.
I think they would have.
Because we're the highest seed aside from Miami.
Yeah.
Talk about goosebumps.
I mean, just looking at the regional that we have, and look, I mean, I'm not trying to put any thoughts in your minds. It's just traditionally when you look at the teams that are there in the regional that you guys are going to go to, it doesn't strike you as a highly touted places. Obviously, Army, obviously Kennesaw State, right in the backyard of East Cobb and all this stuff, where kids that literally grew up playing baseball. Yep. You know that they're tough and they know the game and they can play the game. So it's like, all right, that's fine. But at this point, it's 64 teams that you know can play. So you're gonna get it some way or the other.
What Jay always says is all about the play.
Yeah,
like, it just doesn't matter.
Right. And we haven't
hit 100 home runs and
Army's
stolen 100 bases.
No doubt.
Like, okay, well, let's play.
It's different now. Yeah.
So
when you play here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And when you play here, right now, obviously this season, I've been on this talking about how fans need to show out more. They need to pack the box. And like you've had good crowds, but like not typical, right? We've had games, and like he can tell you in 2008 when they went to Omaha, this before I got here, and they lost to Irvine, and then they had to beat Irvine. Like the crowd has literally won games for us because of teams that aren't used to it come in here and they just fold. Like he hit a ball, the shortstop boots a ball, game over because now you have 15,000 drunk coon-ass people.
I would literally. I can go back and remember this. I would literally go back to saying game 2. 8th inning, we're playing an Irvine team, and we are down. It was either 5 or 7 runs in the 8th inning. You have no business coming back and winning a game like that.
And you could feel
think
it,
the
like
crowd
guy gets
brought-
on, and the guy
gets
boots
on,
that ball.
run happens, and I think crowd ends up literally overcoming a group of kids like because they haven't done anything like
We
that.
came here with the University of Washington in 13, my first year, and we weren't
Oh, that was a no, that's right.
we weren't good. We were fine, but I think Friday night we might have been winning in like the 4th or 2-2, and you could just it's like nobody was paying attention, and then all of a sudden. I think all 12,000 people looked at the scoreboard at once, and we're like, "Wait, we're not winning."
Yeah.
And you just felt this like
The hell's going on?
this wave, and
Yeah.
then double, and then Bregman doubles, and then
Yeah.
you're like,
Right.
Oh no.
Right.
you know what I mean? Then you go to the mound, and they're, then
Yeah.
Colin Baton Rouge comes on, and you're like, oh gosh, what did we just? And then before you know it, you lose 10-2, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, you're in that thing.
and the best part about it is you touched on it before, but that's experience, right? Like those kids that played here have ran into games where they've done that. Where you're at Washington, they hadn't done it,
Exactly.
and it's nothing that they can do about that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's part of the game. So
It made sense after Hoover why SEC teams do well, because that's you can't.
Yeah,
And I love the West Coast, and I love the Pac-12, and when you play in the Pac-12, great coaches, great coaches, and the pitching out there is just
Unbelievable.
It's a problem all the time. So, but you don't get that battle tested.
Yeah.
Oregon State has some people, and they'll be all over you, but it's 3,800.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not
15,000 strong.
Mississippi State, where it's like they literally hate you.
They hate you.
They hate
go to Ole Miss, they
hate you. Like
They're throwing beer
go
on
to
you.
go to
They're
Tennessee,
booze at
they
you.
absolutely hate you.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
bush as hell over there. So.
yeah, so it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like I have old friends that played in the big leagues for a long time. And it's like Shea Stadium, back in the day, or the old Yankee Stadium. About how those people like it just in a 3-game, 4-game series
Wears
you down. You're just like,
No doubt.
enough, and that means something. And the West, you just don't get that, and it doesn't mean the baseball's any different. It just means you feel a little bit more prepared. Even myself doing this for a long time, you still on the bus on the way to Mississippi State, you get a little nervous in your stomach because you're like,
Yeah, you just-
what is this going to be like?
Right.
And how am I going to handle it?
Right.
When I'm standing in the bullpen and Mikhail Hilliard's getting loose and somebody says something to him that I don't
Right.
like, I got to contain myself
Right.
Yep.
too.
No
Like,
doubt.
You show but a little bit more edge. Like,
Yeah,
No,
because
the
I wanna
guy
talk
at Tennessee doesn't do that.
we talk
but-
about if we go sit here and play a pickup basketball game and you just play the basketball game and everybody shakes hands and go home, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But if say you play a pickup basketball game and this guy's just chirping the whole game, well now it starts to mean a little more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's the competitive juices, right?
Yeah, and you don't want to, I want to pick up an extra baseball and put a 4-seamer right between his eyes. But you're like,
but you can't.
Yeah.
You got to channel that somehow towards.
yeah, and you preach it to your players. You preach it to your players. Don't worry about them. They would never say anything to you, but then
When you hear it.
when you're in it, you're like,
And some of the stuff you hear, you're like, oh my god.
which is like you can't even.
Like, why would you say that?
Why would you say that
Especially someone
Ever.
with a shirt
in your
on.
life?
Yeah, ever.
Why would
Ever.
you say that in front of other people?
Yeah.
Like, and there's a kid right there,
Right.
And now he's yelling it. And you're
Yeah.
like,
He's going to be there for 8 more years.
yeah, this kid's gonna be
And,
heckling
this,
me.
and all of this
10
is
years.
and all of this is quote unquote not part of the game. So
And
like you have to deal with it.
What I found out in the SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? And it's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
They're all
they're
fatter
used
than
to-
I am. You know what I mean? They're like, who'd you eat, coach? I'm like,
What?
Hey,
I can see the sweat right here.
It's 4 hours before the game.
Yeah, you're eating a brat. Just like,
he's got ketchup on his mouth talking
they-
shit to you.
they
Because,
just crush me.
Jesus, like I say. Hey, Mississippi State. When I was at this is before they redid it, they used to have like the shanties. We call them the shanties in the back,
Yeah.
the sheds, whatever. And it's humid, and so like the air's thicker, and they weren't very good. But like I was in center field, and they hit a fly ball, and all these guys are grilling. Fly ball goes up, grills come up.
Oh, for the
so
smoke.
All the smoke's in center field. So like I'm like
great.
trying to like maneuver my way so I can
Track this
see this
ball.
ball through the smoke of grill. I'm like,
that's great.
yeah, it's it's awesome.
Just like
it's bush, but it's
pop
great.
up a little lighter fluid.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah,
Holy cow.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm amazed by that they They just hate me for
Hey, I
got
don't
a little beer belly, and everybody hates me.
I mean,
Trying to
they
go to
got
walk
they got a
ons.
bigger one than you. I don't understand.
yeah,
that.
like what do you? First of all, okay, you're like you said, you're here 4 hours before the game.
Yeah.
You're gonna be you just camped out
Yeah.
Where's
with
your
your lawn
wife?
chair. You know what I mean? Like, and you're talking. All right, like.
Yeah. Just look yourself in the mirror.
the best
Yeah.
part about it too is after the game is, hey, you want a plate to go? What do you mean?
Yeah,
no?
then-
Hey, want to grab a beer?
Yeah, it's like talking trash, and you're like, "Hey, Marriott, room 214, come on by,
Yeah. Let's
come on over."
Come by. Let's talk about this.
And they're like, "I'm just joking."
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I feel bad.
I get it.
Dude, you mentioned Mikhail a little bit. How big has he been this year?
Oh man, and you know, he's interesting because when you, like we talked earlier, when you stand in on
It's been
him,
a carnival ride.
yeah, when you're just like,
Yeah.
"This ain't gonna get nobody out. Like, how are we gonna do this with this guy?" And then you put him in the game, and you're like, no barrels for 5 innings. You know, big time competitor, 3-2 breaking ball. You know, does everything that you ask, and he gives our team, which when we got here, as you guys have noticed, the dugout's gotten a little more raucous, a little more. We needed to open it up a little
Yes.
bit. Like we needed to.
Shed some skin.
Yeah, we needed to like make sure
Loosen
this
up.
was theirs
Yes.
and not ours.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we hope to be here for a long time, but they're not. Like this
Right.
is a quick 3-year, 4-year thing for them. So
Yeah.
they need to enjoy it. They need to get after it. And he gives us that,
I love that.
you know, that little saunter. He doesn't even touch the ground after he strikes a dude out
Yeah.
the third strikeout of the inning.
Right.
He does that little skip
Yep.
off the
Yeah.
mound. I'm like, that guy's the coolest guy.
Love that.
Hey, and we also talked about Tim, like watching him pitch. He doesn't wow you with stuff,
Yeah.
but I love the way he competes on the mound.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, he'll give up-
he throws a pitch that's 2 inches off the plate, doesn't waver.
Yeah.
Give me the ball back. I'll do it again. Doesn't waver.
And you kind of always feel like it's going to go like, 3-0. You're
Yep.
like, here it is. And then he boxes a heater and then 3-2 curveball
Yeah.
for a strike. And you're just like, as soon as you kind of doubt him or you're like,
It's like he likes it.
today's the day he's
Yeah.
not going to do it, and then he does it.
Well, here's my thing. There's a couple of things. One, I love like he'll give up 2 or 3 runs in an inning, and then he won't give up give up his last start 2 runs first inning.
Yeah.
Goes 6 innings. That's all he gives up. Those 2 runs, right? And he's been through a lot in his life.
Yeah.
And I think that goes a long way.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? Like this is baseball. This is fun.
Yeah.
This is an escape from the other stuff that I had to go through the last couple of years of my life. Like that makes a big difference in the demeanor and the way in the way he performs on the field. And I love Mikhail. I've known him for a long time since he's been here, and he's one of my favorites. So I'm glad to see him,
Yeah.
perform and be the guy. He's been kind of take control of that leader.
To learn those lessons, and you guys have probably had stuff happen in your life that has been a tragedy, but it just kind of changes the way you look at things.
Yep.
You know, and you guys were high draft picks and great players and major leagues and all that stuff. But when his father passed, hard obviously through the fall, the summer, the fall, really hard. But then the season started, and you could tell it was really hard for him. Because that was a big part of him and his dad. Like that's practice. You don't think about your dad at practice. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when that national anthem goes, you know what I mean? You're like,
It's different.
so instead of me looking to row 202 to see mom and dad, now I'm putting his initials in the back of the mound.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's going to take a while to
Yeah,
get through that.
no doubt.
And especially at LSU, you guys have probably seen the Arkansas guy, who's the radio guy who came out and kind of blasted their catcher, saying he's not part of us because he's a transfer. And
Right.
these are kids, man.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you have kids, but I've got a 14-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son, and you think about them in 3 years, my daughter having to deal with some of the
Yep.
stuff, not to mention the passing of a parent, not to mention school, not to mention boyfriend, girlfriend,
Yeah,
social
no
life,
doubt.
and then go out and pitch in front of 12,000, and
Yeah.
everyone is like,
dad's fat.
why aren't you better?
Yeah. Right.
And you're like,
Yeah. Whoa, like pump your brakes, guy. But one, baseball's hard.
Hard.
And 2, like
Yeah.
there's a lot
I
that
got a lot
goes
going on.
into this.
I'm doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I'm staying with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's hard about, for me at least, is fans that don't watch Major League Baseball.
Yep.
Like if you don't watch Major League Baseball, then you can't criticize anything because the same stuff happens.
Yep.
Like they walk the leadoff guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Guy's hitting 120, you hit him right in the back. How do we hit a guy who's hitting 120?
Happens.
One right down the middle, you foul it off. They do it
Pitchers
all the time.
Not anymore. Obviously, pitchers get hits.
Right.
Like
That happens.
Like
It's part of the game.
and then you watch our game and these fans are like, how do we do those things? And you're like, dude, just watch baseball.
Right.
Like
Now, if he does it over and over and over again, okay, that's an
yeah.
issue. But like, come on, it's a hard game. Baseball's a hard game.
We're gonna walk a guy.
Yeah.
And you're gonna walk in a run.
He's gonna pull him.
Yeah. It's just the perspective on it is hard, and you love the passion because they want to be here to cheer you on.
Right.
But man, they're kids, and to see Mikhail pull through that and get tougher, and I think it's been really hard, but it's also he really appreciates it.
Yeah.
Like
He loves it.
it's that end of the road, just like you guys know, when you guys probably knew before your career was over that it was over, like we all do. Like you're like, yeah, I still got a job, but
Right. Yeah.
you know, and he's starting to see that a little bit, like my career's gonna be over at LSU. And I think about a month ago you kind of saw him kind of kick it into a different gear of just appreciation and just like,
and that's a
I'm lucky to
dangerous
be
place
here.
to be for like it's a good place to be as a player, but as an opponent, like if you're facing a guy that you know that he's in that state of mind, like damn, this guy he's gonna be a problem.
Yeah,
because
his game's just stepped up a little bit.
And he's just unwavered too.
Yeah.
Like, you just, you know what I mean? Like you said.
He's almost changed the mentality of the team once he become the Friday night guy. It's been a totally different baseball team. It feels like
That's an aspect of college baseball that is, it's not, you don't take that kind of into consideration sometimes, because in professional baseball you play every day. Nobody really sets the tone for your team.
Right.
Like, okay, you got opening day or you got an off day and your ace goes out and pitches well, and that sets the tone for the next 6 or 7 days.
Right.
But in college baseball, that Friday night guy sets the tone.
Yep.
Doesn't have to be your best guy, but it has to be somebody that the team, when that guy pitches, you feel a different energy to them.
No doubt.
You feel
You
they
just
play
feel like
a
you're
little bit
always in the
harder.
game.
we're taping up.
And that like this guy, he's going to give up 2 or 3, but he's going to give us 6 innings. We're going to score late. We're going to win. You know, and nothing's worse than going home on Friday night, losing 10-0.
Yeah.
And you're like,
It kind of gave it away. Like, damn, we didn't really do anything today.
yeah, you're like, we're not going to win a game.
Yeah, right.
We won't win. I feel like we're not going to win another game this year.
Right.
After that, so that emotional kind of high for us on Friday with him is immeasurable.
I think you mentioned something about the dugout kind of having. And I'm not gonna keep you much longer. I know it's Memorial
I'm
Day,
good.
and
I just found out we're off today.
you just happy Memorial Day.
Taking my wife to dinner
There
tonight.
you go.
Like,
Where y'all going? Where y'all going?
Walk-ons?
I think we'll probably go to sushi.
Oh, nice. Where's your favorite sushi spot?
Gosh, it'll kill me because I don't remember the name.
Is
Yama?
it-
Sushiyama?
It's the best sushi in Baton Rouge.
It's actually really good.
Vibe,
Like
like
it.
Ichiban's vibe is a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
Sushiyama is probably, as far as sushi goes, is probably.
See, we'll talk a bunch of trash about how we're gonna go out, and then it'll be like 5:30.
And just wait her.
Oh, you're that type too?
She'll be like,
We do that.
"You just want to call it?"
Oh, you're that type too?
She'll text me like, "What time are you coming home from work?" I'm like, "I'm gonna leave in about a half an hour." She's like, "All right, I'll call it." I thought we were going out. She's like,
Nah.
I just worked out. I think I'm done. I'm like, all right.
I think it's every couple.
This couch looks really good. These shorts feel
damn,
better.
I don't feel like getting up. Like, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah,
We're just gonna order it. I'll pick it up.
Yeah, exactly. And so that I got plenty of time.
All right, perfect.
here for you all
You
day.
mentioned about the culture of the dugout,
Yeah.
right? Like how you wanted them to get after a little bit. When we were here, and I don't ever want to be like, oh, it was different, because it wasn't different. Like, the game's still the same, right? It was 10 years ago. It's not that much different. But some of the biggest personalities on our team, they weren't starters.
Right.
We had Nolan Kane, who was a fifth year. We
Right.
had Nick Ponoff, Buzzy Hideout. All these guys were role players on the bench, but they were seniors. Kind of like a Bianco, right? Like, you put him in there, he's going to make something happen, whether he gets a hit or makes a play or does something. But they were at the end of the bench. Chris McGee was one of them at the end of the bench, and they were wearing the other team out, and like to the point where like first base coaches would like get rattled, and like start chirping back, and like
guy.
that would give us energy, right? Like to the point where like, damn,
it's
that's
weird
like a
because
chip,
it
like we
was like
created
a-
that,
Yeah.
you know, and
It
like
was
that
weird.
you need that.
Yeah.
For them, and I'm sure those guys on the team, for them, it was weird because I didn't notice it then, but it was almost like a. And look, this doesn't diminish what they contributed as a player on the field, but you could tell they took a real enjoyment of coming to the field and being able to get under someone's skin.
Yeah, totally.
Like, and I think stuff
And
like
maybe
that
it was
helps
Bush,
the
but
team.
not really Bush. Like it was just part of it, right? Like it was just the energy
Savvy.
it was like the energy that you were creating in the dugout. Like you need that, especially like long season.
Yeah.
You know, shit gets kind of repetitive. Like you need something.
Well, and this is theirs.
Right.
Like that's what players need to understand. And this isn't ours. Like this is my job. Like I pay the mortgage with this. I support my family with this. Like, but at the end of the day, like this is their time to shine, and they need to blow it out and have a blast.
Yep.
Now, there's limits, obviously,
With everything.
With everything, obviously. But I'll tell you when you're getting to, like,
I'll let you know.
I'll let you know. Yeah.
It's easier to bring you back than to make you do it.
Yeah,
no
and,
doubt.
and that's happened a couple times where myself or Fitz or Jay has walked down there and been like, enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Too much.
Come on.
Yeah.
And
Not Jay.
yeah, but Jay's actually maybe the most lenient out of us all.
I bet
he loves it.
Yeah, I
He's
know he
just
does.
As
and I remember playing against Arizona. I'm like, those guys, like,
Yeah.
they're Bush.
Yeah.
They're,
Right.
What's different on the West here is nobody can hear anything anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
Right.
everyone's like, we're crushing these guys. I'm like, can you hear them crushing you?
Right.
No, what do you mean they are? I'm like, yeah, they're talking the same,
You
but you just
can't
can't hear them because there's 12,000 people here.
Right.
Whereas when you're at UCLA and there's 800 people, it's like, what did he say?
Yeah.
But we felt like they just needed that.
Yeah.
Like, and
The
and
boom
that's
box, gotta do all
yeah,
that
like
stuff.
it's
Yeah.
a little, I'm a little more old school, but at the same time, like, they're having fun. It's
You
not
need something.
disrespectful.
Just
I find to me, like, personally, like, even when you get into professional ball, the teams that end up being really good, there's a high chance they got something that seems
Like, you hit a
somewhat
home run, you
bush,
do
somewhat
something.
childish, something that just kind of like, man, I can't believe we did that back
To make the
in day.
game
But we
feel
did
like a
that.
game.
Yeah.
No
And
doubt.
then it's guys like us that are like, oh, that's Bush. That's, as you get older, because you just, the purity of the
Right.
game, you want that. But, like, watch the rest. Like, dude hit his homer, they put him on laundry
Right.
carts.
Yeah.
It's great.
Like,
No hats, jackets,
Chicken
and
beer.
no, I'm not all about the whole like. Those
It can get everything.
It started with
can get
football,
over
like the
it.
turnover chain.
Yeah.
Like the chain turned into like, oh, you have this turnover clock on your like whatever it is, right? Like this cloak that you have to put on. Like now they
Dunk
do
a
that.
basketball.
Like, yeah, like some of that's,
Yeah.
but I the concept of it
yeah.
is important. I think.
Right.
Yeah, and if it's the same thing that I just said, it's like if you're not watching Major League Baseball, then you don't get it.
Right.
Because why can Mike Trout hit a blast and then come down the steps and put on a cowboy hat and do a country line dance through the dugout
Right.
while everyone goes crazy? And you're like, but when Dylan Cruz hits a homer, like,
Yeah.
we don't want him to.
Right.
What are we talking
We
about?
want him to act
Right.
like he's done it before.
Yeah,
What do you
Right.
mean?
why? Like,
It's hard to hit a home run.
It's
You
hard.
should it's when people say act like you've been there when you hit a home run, like run around the bases, high five. Like, no, bro, it's hard. Some of the best hitters in the big leagues hit 30 home runs. They have 600 at bats.
600 at bats.
And they hit 30 of them over the fence. That's
Yeah.
a hard thing to do. So, like, celebrate every single one of them. Like, no, don't be disrespectful and throw the bat at the pitcher, do
Well,
something.
just,
But, like,
you literally just said it. Say something that you have a 4 or 5% chance of doing
Yeah.
over the course of a season,
And
and you want me to act like I do it every day?
And
No.
as you guys know, college baseball is weird because in the big leagues, you just throw at somebody.
yeah.
Because you guys are big leaguers, you don't want to get hit.
No.
But if you throw at one of our guys, the place goes bananas.
Yeah.
And the dugout's like, yeah!
Yeah.
And you're just like, how do we police this?
Right.
There's really nothing to do. Like, so once you learn that as a player, you're like, what are they going to do to me?
Right.
They're not going to
100%.
fight me.
Yeah.
They're not going to throw at me.
Yeah.
It's like pitchers in the American League back in the day.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? You going to come get me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Go for it. I'll
Yep.
backpedal till the catcher gets to you anyway, and then I'll be down in the tunnel before this
Right,
thing's
then my
over.
outfielder's going to come in. We're
Oh,
good.
yeah, I'll
we're
be out
good.
of here. They threw me out, but I'm already in the shower. But in college baseball, there's nothing,
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do. So, you try and keep them. I try and tell them, hey, no numbers, no names, no, like, just
Right.
stay away from
Yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff.
Just
Stay off
baseball
the
talk.
coaches.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, now
Yeah.
there's some first base coaches that you're like, nah, go for it.
Yeah, well, some of them, are, yeah, yeah.
That's happened.
Those
That's-
are
in the history
targeted.
of this
Yeah,
thing is how
yeah.
it
You
goes.
target them,
Yeah.
going in, like
Yeah.
they're gonna get it.
And if you handle those things the right way,
yeah,
So
then-
much fun.
yeah, then they'll back off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had to coach first base last year because our graduate assistant got a job, and so I did it, and I thought I could help, and it was great. But they chirp at you a little bit, and then you just look back at them, and you're just like, then you say something,
Yeah. Right.
like, no, I like getting tripped at from the nerds at the corner of the dugout. Like, that's cool.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like-
right. And they're like, oh damn, okay.
The
Well, back
GPA,
and forth.
the GPA guys.
Yeah.
Like, I know who you are, and they're like, "Damn, coach!" I'm like,
What you major in econ?
"What is your GPA? 3.8."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That's it, yeah.
Yep. You're
Right on,
Number
right
are
on
you
par.
64?
you know what you're.
How
warm's
many innings
that
you
seat
got?
over
You got
there?
2 innings this year? Okay, that's what I thought.
You know your head coach gets a bonus for APR, right? What? Yeah, he gets about $20,000 if he gets that thing over 980, and you got a 3.8. So I know why you're on the roster.
How many Steves have you had today?
Exactly.
I bet you know what you're eating already after the game, huh?
Couple more. Last question. Really, we talked a little bit about recruiting.
Yep.
Right. How has COVID and the shortening of the draft? I don't know. Is it ever going to get over 20 rounds, or is it going to stay at 20 rounds? Like, how has that helped college baseball, or do you think it's helped college baseball?
I think
keep
that's,
guys here that probably should go? I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Or
a
NIL?
There's a lot of answers to that question.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's helped. I don't know that it's helped the player.
Okay.
Because there's going to be 3,000
No
kids
doubt.
in this portal.
No doubt.
With nowhere to go.
Right.
So it's completely backlogged a whole almost 2 full classes.
Right.
Now that has made junior college baseball better. That has made lower Division I better.
Look at
Division
Paul
II better.
Gervais.
Yeah, Paul. Like there's great stories, but there's also a lot of kids that aren't going to be able to play baseball because of 56-year seniors.
Right.
You know, and so you're like, wow, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But the draft, I don't think they want it more than 20 rounds. I think this is I think this has kind of been their deal for a while.
They've been wanting.
Listen,
I think COVID was a great opportunity
Yes.
to go,
Yeah.
let's cut some affiliates.
I think 50 rounds is a lot. I think
Yeah.
40 rounds. I think 30. Like Kevin Kiermaier was a 31st rounder.
Yeah.
He was an all-star. Well, I don't know if he made the all-star, but he's been a $50 million guy in the big leagues. Like he wouldn't have been. There's a lot of guys that now you don't get a ton, but you get some.
You get some.
You know, and like I think that it gives these guys an opportunity to reach their dreams, and you know you're not paying them a lot in the 30th round.
It's also the worst, like labor, like
it's awful.
It's awful.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah,
and you sit and you talk to these kids 10 years ago, and you're like, I'm gonna sign the 28th round. You're like, what are you doing?
Right.
Well,
Ham sandwich.
You can get 10 grand.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. They're paying you 10,000 so that you can pitch to you guys.
Right.
Like they need pitchers on the A-ball team,
Right.
so that the 3 guys in their organization
Right.
can get the ABs
Right.
and can continue to move.
Right.
Right.
You're going to get released in 2 years. You're not going to be done with your degree. You're probably going to be engaged.
Right.
Now what?
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or if you actually do have some success and you get to 5-year, 6-year, you get that 6 year, you start making a little bit of money now because
Right.
you get to negotiate your account. You know, you can make some money.
Right.
Now you're even more trapped.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you're not going to get to the big leagues.
And you're too old.
And you're too old.
Yeah.
Now you got 2 kids
Yeah.
because you're 28.
And you try to make the money.
And they're not paying you any really. I mean, they're paying you, but not much.
You think they're paying you because they're paying you 20 grand a month, but you're only working for
6 months.
You know what I mean? So that you're making 120 grand, which is great, but that's just enough for you to not have to work in the off season.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and then you're just like, it's this whole cycle.
Yeah.
I do think it'll help with that.
Yeah.
Of kids just getting ruined.
Yeah, no doubt.
By that experience because it's such a bad. For
Machine.
90% of it, it's miserable, and you guys have friends that hate this game now because of what was done to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I have friends too that are like, I haven't watched a major league game since I got released.
Right.
And you're like, dude, you
Yeah.
loved this. And he's
Right.
like, I just can't.
Yeah.
They screwed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hate it. And you're just like, okay. So I think it's helped with that, but the college baseball part of it is really, it's backlog, man.
Yeah.
And the portal and
Yeah.
it's just.
As far as NIL, do you think that like, now obviously like the top end guys are getting paid? Do you think that like having NIL and having that? Now I think I'm all for players getting paid. Like I wish that we would have had it when we were here. I think that there should be some sort of. They've got to somehow fix it. I don't know how you fix it now that you already did it.
Right.
Like, but
Yeah, Pandora's box is open.
right. Like I don't know how you fix it. I think
Wide
that I think they did it without thought.
Yeah.
Like we're getting too much pressure. Let's just do it. Now they're realizing like, damn, we probably should have thought this through a little bit better.
Yeah.
Has that helped some of these guys that may have been second or third round guys that would have gotten $500,000, right? And to take it, and now because some of those guys get trapped, they get drafted, they could take $500,000. $500,000 sounds like a lot. It's not in the grand scheme of your life,
Right.
Because it's not going to last you forever,
Right.
And then you lose it, you don't make it, and now you have to go into the real world at 27 with barely any of that signing bonus left. Some of those guys now can get paid in college. Does that help the college baseball? Those guys coming in, does that help the parity of baseball? Does that help? You know, do you think? Have you seen a difference in that?
It should.
Yeah.
And I hope it does. Like with the class we have coming in, I mean, I think we got 11 guys in the top 100. Like, hopefully there's 3 or 4 of those guys that don't want to sign in the third round for, $450, $550, because they can make a little bit of money here. Now, are they going to make cash? The NLI thing here, I'm not even involved in it.
Right.
Like, I don't.
Right.
Dylan Cruz could be making $1 million a year,
Right.
and I wouldn't know.
Right.
I do know that our guys have local because they Instagram post that stuff
Right.
Yep.
every Monday at Lit Pizza. Or like, they're like, oh, you got a Lit Pizza deal. Like, what's going on here? Like, I could use a Lit Pizza deal. I got some followers too. Like, I can help you out. But I think it can help, and just the big money, the football. I also think it's a lot of smoke.
Yep, I agree.
And
with that
nobody
too.
knows what it really is.
I agree with that too.
The guy, Deion Sanders guy, the Saban stuff, the Jimbo
I think it's
stuff.
going to take another 3,
Yeah,
4, 5 years before you actually start hearing real numbers and real situations. Before this,
And businesses are not dumb.
No, I know. I mean,
So they're not going to just keep doing
not giving
this
you for
if
nothing.
it doesn't work.
Yeah, right.
And it's not going to work.
Right.
It's just not sustainable. So
Yeah.
hopefully there's some sort of, and I know there's good people in our community that are putting together some stuff so that they can help take care of
Mm-hmm.
incoming guys and do it all, above water and legally and all that stuff. But it's for somebody that's been in college baseball as long as I have.
Yeah.
It really stinks. Like
Yeah.
you're like, wait, we can't do that.
Right.
We can't do that.
Right.
Can you do that? Like, oh yeah, you can do that.
Sure.
You can almost do anything
Yeah.
now.
Right. Right.
And for so long,
It's not even really almost. You can pretty
much do
anything.
anything, and you're just like, man, I've been passing these recruiting tests and getting grilled every month about you can't do this. An incoming recruit, no tickets. They only get this many tickets. You only
6
there's-
gummy bears.
There's
per
all these,
player.
a bagel, but it can't have cream cheese
Yeah.
because that counts as a meal, and you're like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
So it is good that they're getting rid of all that stuff, but
Right.
it does, like anything else, some of the wrong people
Yeah, I
are
get
getting
it.
their hands in the
Yeah.
cookie jar, and then you're
No
like,
doubt. Yeah.
what am I really getting here?
Right.
And now mom and dad are even more out of control.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing some of the basketball guys, I think, demanding stuff.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So they're gonna come in your
Miami,
office
The,
and be like,
the football side of it's crazy.
if you can't give me 10 more grand, I'm out.
Yeah.
I would only
I'll go
imagine
to
because of
Memphis.
the basketball
Right.
side, like there's so many less players. It only takes 2 or 3. There is no telling what those numbers could be.
Yeah.
There's no telling.
I mean, you hope, like, the ideal situation is you hope you get a guy like Dylan Cruz with the
Yep.
makeup. Like, because here's my thing. If you're not good, like, the money sounds good, and if you're just chasing that, you're probably not
Right.
good enough anyway.
Yes.
You're just chasing, like, oh, I
It's
got
not sustainable.
right.
if
Like,
that's
oh,
your deal.
they think I'm this good. I just want it because the money sounds good. Now, if you really want to go to school or you think that's where you want to be, like Dylan Cruz said, oh, I could have made $4 million.
Yeah.
But they said that I'm not going to sign anything under 5 or whatever the number was. And if you're not giving it to me, just don't even draft me. I'm going to go to school. And he had the makeup and he has the work ethic and he has the ability to go out there. And like, if this guy turned down $1 million and he goes to college and he's not good enough, like, yeah, that $1 million would have been nice, but you're not, that $1 million is going to be gone in 6 years anyway.
Yeah.
You're not going to make it to the big leagues. Like,
Yep.
you're not good enough, obviously. So the idea is to have a guy like him with the makeup say, okay, you know what? I want to go to school here. It makes sense for me to go. I know I'm good enough. I'm going to go perform, and I'm going to make just as much or more money
Right.
in the draft, right? And that's, it's easier said than done, but I think now with, like, the slots increasing and the ability to
Well, can you
come-
imagine being in college and being like,
Yes.
hey, we're going to give you 10 grand for the year.
Okay.
And you're like, what? For what?
Yeah.
It's like, to drive my Ford Mustang
Okay.
with the plates
Yeah.
on it. And you're like,
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll go there.
I'll do
That's
that.
cool. Like that. You don't need. This doesn't need to be $500,000.
Right.
You don't need to buy Dylan Cruz out of the draft.
But the thing is,
You just need to make them feel like,
You gotta be able to take care of them a little bit.
something.
The thing is
and
we-
sell their own merch.
The thing is-
That's where this
Yeah.
started. That was
Right.
the
Build their own
the
brand.
organic part of this is
Yeah.
Eric Razelman should be able to make shirts and sell
Yeah.
them in the team
Right.
store,
Yeah.
make a couple $100.
Right.
Or if they want to run a camp.
Yeah,
But that,
Like,
but
'cause
the
you
crazy
couldn't run
part,
camps.
Totally. You couldn't
we
do
all
anything.
agree about that, but all it takes is one, right? And it takes one be like, hey, Dylan Cruz, if we think he'll be this and that, so let's throw all this.
Yep.
Box wide open.
Yeah. Now,
Now highest bidder.
yeah,
That's what it all
right,
comes to.
right.
Well, and that's where it's changing because the portal and the NIL, it puts a lot of not pressure, but you got to be good to these kids.
Yeah.
Like you can't be the old school,
Yep.
because
It
they'll
also
bail.
and
They'll
it also
bounce.
takes
Right.
off of the portal and NIL also takes away from you really have to recruit these kids now.
Yeah.
You can't bank on hey, he's from Baton Rouge, from Louisiana, he's only really wanted
Right.
to do this his whole life, because there's more of a chance now, or like if you're not really in the conversation, you're not really recruiting him, he'll just go to the highest bidder. Next school, next
you've
place.
got to recruit the guys on your team.
Yeah. Re-recruit.
Like I was part of it when I first got into this was the free transfer stuff. And you were like, I was at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. We had good players. But you're like, I'm going to send them to the Cape. and he's going to be with 2 ASU guys, 2 LSU guys, 2 Georgia Tech guys, and he can transfer anywhere.
And they're all talking.
Yeah, goes to the Cape, 91, 92. Now, the head coach of Arizona State's like, hey, that guy from that little school. Oh, yeah, it's my roommate. Oh, really?
Right. How'd you like him? Oh, he's awesome. Great dude.
Kid.
Yeah.
3.0 student. Like, oh, that's great. And all of a sudden, those kids leave, and you're just like,
shit.
So you don't even send your guys out for summer ball to try to hide them. And now last year, you saw there are teams in our conference and in other conferences where other small schools went to those schools for regionals, and they pulled their best player.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough.
How can you be a small mid-major?
Right.
Did a great job recruiting, great job developing, go to state college wherever as the 4 seed. Your dude goes up there, pitches pretty well. A week later, coach, I want to go in the portal.
Yeah, shit. I don't want to make the postseason now if that's the case. Yeah.
Where are you going?
Right.
I don't know yet.
And you
2
did
weeks
everything
later.
right by you.
Yeah,
Right.
2 weeks
great, I had
later.
a great time here.
I'd like to thank everybody, thank
Yeah.
God, thank my parents. I'm committing to State U, and you're the coach going.
Fuck.
Like you could smell it.
Yeah, you knew it was coming.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah, you felt it.
Yeah, it's just they're just gonna steal your girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like, that's the guy that steals your girl.
No doubt.
What are you gonna do?
It's been it's a tough thing to navigate through. I don't know how. I think it's gonna.
Well, especially them coming together at the same time.
Yeah.
The NIL
Yeah.
and transfer portal, it just opened up this massive multiverse of
There's just this
what
tornado.
the hell?
Right.
Yes.
Can't.
And I think the portal eventually self-regulated a little bit to this point where hey, these guys are getting stuck with nowhere to go. Now you don't have a job, and so if unless you're one of the top tier guys and you're guaranteed a spot, it's gonna be hard sometimes. So I think I've said that for football. I think it'll self-regulate, and I don't know if it will or not. Next 2 years, you'll kind of see if the numbers start to decrease, but. It's gonna be interesting to see.
As we've talked about, the portal has gotten out of control when there's a portal ranking these days.
Oh,
all right.
And nobody's supposed to have access to that stuff.
Right.
Of course.
But somehow everybody's got
everybody knows everything.
And now guys are announcing on Twitter that they're going into the portal.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing.
Okay.
Why we love to do the whole iPhone notes announcement thing and
Just sign the bottom of it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, thank you for everything. I'm talking like walk-ons that are at there's a walk-on from LSU football who literally said he was entering the portal. I'm like, bro, nobody knows who you are. Nobody cares that you're entering the portal. Nobody cares that you're going to
GPA just went down.
You're going to Texas A&M Tech. You know what I mean? Everybody just, I don't know. It's just so much self-gratification.
There is.
That's the system though, because you kind of you feel bad for the kids because that's all they know. They don't know anything different. It's hard for them to understand that this is a very, very
well, they just
not
see
pretty way to go about it, but it is what it is.
And you got to navigate it the best way you.
Yeah.
You got. I mean, in that situation, you got to be selfish.
Right.
You got to look out for yourself. So if Johnny can send a tweet out, and you know what I mean, and everybody can retweet it, I'm gonna see it.
Right.
And then what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go right to Google. Right to
Look
Synergy, be like,
93, 95.
okay, follow him. You know what I mean? Then he DMs you like, hey, coach, you have interest. And then you're like, oh, yeah, we only got walk-on spots. Right. He's like, bro, I hit 96. I'm like, hey, man, it's LSU. We got walk-on spots if you're interested. No, week later, hey, might still have that spot available. So that spider web is it touches a lot of people.
Are they going to go back down? Are they going to go back down 35-man rosters?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be crazy too.
Yeah,
that's a lot of spots that aren't gonna be available anymore.
5 guys on every team.
Yeah,
that's a big number. That's what baseball has. I don't know how many schools are 300 Division I,
something like that. Yeah,
296.
Yeah,
it's not like football where there's 100. You know what I mean? So if you take 5 guys off each team, you're like 500 guys. Take 5 guys off each baseball team, you're looking at 1,600 guys.
Yeah.
To go in the portal.
Yeah.
On the people that are already unhappy.
Right. Yeah.
The rosters that are already pretty much full.
Yeah, they might have been happy.
Right.
But you just got to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So it's part of the real world, I guess, and there's smart enough people, smarter than I am, that'll figure out how to navigate. Jay's one of them. Yeah. That'll figure out a great way to navigate it, and you hope that also there's some selfishness on our end. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Right.
You want to be at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not fair.
Yeah.
You just want the player. You can't get caught up not getting the right players.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that happens. The portal stuff happens in a week.
Yeah.
The kids in the portal, You call him, he visits. Like these guys last year were comboing visits. So it was like LSU, Ole Miss, Arkansas, UCLA. 5 days. Decision. You're like, wow.
I was just trying
no
to
time
have
to
sushi
recruit,
at
really.
home.
Yeah, you didn't even see how cool I am. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't have enough time to like chop it up.
You have no
I
relationship
saw you
with
for
me.
2 hours.
I went PowerPoint on you, and
Right.
and maybe that didn't hit the button that it needed to hit.
Yeah.
You know, because you're like, oh, I don't want to do the analytical stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm not.
I got other tools if you
yeah,
want it.
but you don't even have time to get to
Have
know
to
them.
have other moves.
Yeah, I'm multifaceted.
Have to be missionary.
Whoa.
Well, yeah, that's what, he went the whole show.
I was waiting for
He went the whole show when he dropped it. He
I
dropped
was waiting
it
for
in
him
there.
to just hop over the
Yeah,
line.
he couldn't.
I've watched
he couldn't-
enough shows to
he
know that he
literally
always does.
belly flopped.
He couldn't help himself. He got it there. He got there. This one from an hour, 5th-hour show to 2 hour. This is great.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is awesome.
yeah,
I appreciate that. I didn't think
I
that.
do have one more question for
yeah,
a
go
real
for it.
question, not a goofy one. Whenever the phone call came from Jay, when it was like LSU, what was your first thought about coming here?
Well, my whole story was crazy because of what happened at ASU.
Oh yeah.
So the head coach had gotten fired. They had hired a new coach who wanted to retain me and then didn't, a couple weeks into it, want to retain me. So technically I got fired the day before Jay got the job.
So you were in the portal.
Technically, yeah. Yeah, oh yeah.
Did you and Jay have a relationship before?
Yeah, we had known each other for a long time. When he was at USD as the assistant, I was at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and we recruited a lot of the same, same lane.
Right.
So we were always same
Head to
place.
head.
Yep. And then he went to Nevada, and we didn't meet up all that much. And I went to Washington, and then when he went to Arizona, obviously we recruited and we're close to the same age, and so I've known him, and as that thing is going, and there's rumors like you guys are, on Twitter, and it's Pat Casey and it's Joe Torre and it's you're like, all right,
Joe Torre, yeah.
Sure, maybe. You're just trying to figure out like who, and especially as an assistant who's kind of out of work at the moment, you're like, I need to get in with that person because most guys, and Jay wasn't this way, but most guys have their staff.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, if I go, do you want to come? Everything's done under the table, behind closed doors. But with Jay's thing, when that thing was announced that he got it, I didn't know that he had gotten it.
Right.
So I heard it on Twitter.
Right.
And I was just like, oh shoot.
Maybe.
My wife's like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, I have a relationship with him. Like, I've done well against his teams.
Right.
We get along. We chop it up together. Like, it's
Maybe.
there's a chance, and then he called that next day and was like, I want to interview you. I want to, but he didn't give me anything. Like, as you guys know, I mean, he straight faced me for like 5 days.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow.
Damn. That didn't go well. I don't know. Did it go well?
I thought it was a good
I thought
interview.
every conversation
Did it go?
was
I don't
good.
know. Maybe it did.
Every
Maybe it
conversation was perfect. I'm
Yeah.
like, my wife's like, how'd it go? I'm like, it was awesome.
I think.
She's like, well, any leads? And I'm pretty good at picking up and
Right.
and like,
Right.
I've got some skills as far as the psychological part of it and like how things change and like that was a different conversation. Nothing. I'm just like, she's like, come on, I got nothing.
He left me on red.
Let's just go eat dinner. That's what I'm
I
talking
have. Let's get in the pool. I was in Arizona. Time let's just relax. Let's get in
Yeah.
the pool. But then when he called and said, I want to fly you out, I kind of got serious with him. I'm like, hey man, like if this isn't real, I don't want to bring my wife out there.
Right.
Like if you
Right.
want me to come out and just interview, like I get that, but he's
Yeah.
like, I want you to bring your wife. So I was like, that was the first like little
Okay,
crack.
maybe.
Then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I might have a shot at this.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said, hey, I don't want to bring my wife if I don't have a shot at this. And he just said, bring your wife. And I'm like, okay. So now that gets enough of a little butterfly in your stomach that you're like,
Yeah.
at first you didn't care because you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know nothing.
Yep.
Right.
And
And
now you're over, and my wife is a bit of an overthinker.
Yep.
So she's
As
now,
mine is too.
I mean, picking out
We'll cut
houses, picking out like, you know what I mean? Like schools.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, hey, babe. like,
Yeah.
We go out there tomorrow. Like we don't, I just want areas. Here's where maps. You're just like, oh.
I only know what the stadium is. So I'm trying to figure
Yeah.
that out right
Here
now.
we go.
Yeah.
So this is a funny story. So we fly into New Orleans,
Uh-huh.
right? And we're on the way in, and we're like 20 minutes. Just when you get, I'm not familiar enough. Just when you start getting over the water on those bridges,
Yeah.
and we get through maybe that first,
Like coming towards Baton Rouge.
coming to
Yeah.
Baton Rouge.
So they got over the causeway.
Like
we get,
LaPlace.
we get over the causeway, and I can see, I'm driving a rental car. I can see about 100 yards. It looks like there's a, like a blown 18-wheeler tire on the side of the road. So I'm like, oh, don't hit the tire. And as we get closer, I'm like, oh shit. As we get closer, it's an alligator, right?
On the road?
On the road?
Well, on the side of the road, like in the
On the interstate?
Yeah, on
Wow.
the, in, like in the
I could be honest with you. I've driven that
I've
road
never
a
seen it.
lot.
I've
never
first
seen
time
that.
here.
Wow.
So
Not even gonna lie to
10
you.
seconds in my brain is like, do I tell her? She's on her phone. You know what I mean? Or do I just blow right by this? Because if she sees this, she's
out.
gonna be like, turn this thing around.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
we're not-
Alligators
I'm
on the interstate?
like,
No way.
Like with just us, like
Yeah.
in regular.
That's
It's
funny.
a
as hell.
Tuesday.
So I'm like, all right, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, babe, look at that. She's like, what? I'm like, look up, look, just look at the side of the road. She's like, what? Oh my gosh. And then we drive right by it. And it kind of, I get close enough to it to where I scare it.
Yeah.
Kind of. And she's like, that was an alligator. And I'm like, okay,
We're here.
how did that go over?
Yeah.
And she goes, that's awesome.
Oh, there we go.
And I was like, oh my
We're in.
Got a chance.
We're in. Now I really got a chance. Now I really got a
But
chance.
I had 10 seconds
Yeah.
there where I was going to be like, like act like something happened and like
Yep.
pull her seat down and be like,
Yeah, because you're coming from Tempe where there's, maybe
No.
a scorpion here or there.
we're fighting scorpions and
Yeah.
rattlesnakes, but
Yeah.
like,
Not gators, dude.
and then so now there's a million questions. So now every body of water we drive by, she's like, "There's alligators in there." Mm-hmm. I'm like,
I don't know what to tell you.
The air on the side of
baseball.
probably like
Yeah.
there's where we live. You walk back, and there's alligators in this little lake.
Oh, yeah.
and
Cool with them.
yeah, and I'm okay with snakes and scorpions,
Nah, I'm out
and
on
like had to kill rattlesnakes, had to
Yeah,
kill
I'm out on the
scorpions.
snakes. I can deal with alligators. and
Completely
snakes.
out on snakes. I'm not in on alligators,
Well,
but I'm
snakes-
completely
Out
out
on
on
snakes.
Snakes is hard because it's kind of life or death.
Yeah.
Like
No,
an
no.
alligator, you kind of like shoo it back in the water and then
Right.
you're good.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in the water, obviously you have a problem.
Right.
But that snake's not going. You can't scare
Yeah.
it anywhere.
No.
So
The more you
it's-
scare it, the more
more
dangerous
it's
it's
going to
going
come
to
and
get.
get you.
Yeah.
So that is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I hate snakes.
Scorpions are fun though.
And so they're in your shoe and you.
But see, you know what
Yeah.
you do if you're from Arizona.
Shake your shoe.
No, you get a black light and you hunt them.
Oh yeah,
It's so fun.
So my
Really?
fiance,
You get a torch.
my fiance used
get a
to.
mini
She went
blowtorch.
to Arizona State. She's lived in Arizona for a while.
Yeah.
Her and her roommate, one of her roommates, literally used to go at night, black light, torch, looking for them. Like that was
And
like
would
a
you just
normal
burn
thing
them?
at home.
Yeah. So they light up on the black light like crazy because they're clear.
Yeah.
Right. So you and the buddies are over at the pool and having a couple cocktails, having a good night, barbecuing, and they're from California. Like, hey, boys, want to go scorpion hunting?
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And so I go to the garage, and at Home Depot they have these little mini blow torches. They're this big, and you just, and they're like, what are we?
You just
doing?
cook these things.
You're like, let's go. And so you have they like the retaining walls and kind of some of that stuff. And where I lived in Queen Creek, it was dark. I lived out in it's not woods because it's a desert. I lived out in the desert, but stars,
Right.
black as,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't see 10 feet in front of you.
Wow.
So you go out with the black light and they light up, and you just go right up to them and you just go, and just light them on fire.
And they just blow up.
They just torch.
Yeah. See?
Wow.
And they don't really like attack you in these situations.
No,
either.
no, they don't do anything. They'll just let you kill them.
Yeah.
And then how big? They just let you kill them.
They have
I'm
no.
over it. It's over.
It's not a fight.
They're not chasing you or
literally
like-
zero
How
fight.
big? How big do they get? They're pretty small, right? Yeah.
Some of them get a little bit bigger.
You eat
They're-
them?
It's not the ones that you see on like National Geographic, like in Brazil,
Right.
Yeah.
where
Like
they're the brown
big-ass
ones.
ones,
They're like
yeah.
this big and they're like tackling people. we didn't have those ones in Arizona, but they.
Damn, that's awesome.
But
I've
you
never
get your
done
buddies together, they love it. I think it's the greatest.
It's like
She
us going
literally said,
frogging.
she's
You
like,
go frogging down
hey,
here.
I
Yeah.
would be like, what are y'all doing
Yeah.
tonight? She's like, we're gonna go scorpion hunting.
Except
Like,
frogging, you got to go in the water. Like scorpion
Yeah, it's a
hunting,
big- it's
you're
a
not
thing.
getting wet. You're
That's fun.
just
Yeah,
burning.
your flip flops and no
Yeah,
shirt and
yeah.
just board shorts
Damn.
and
That's
yeah.
pretty legit.
But then you got the bug guy who gets rid of them all.
Uh,
So you're like, your buddies are like, cancel the bug guy. You're like,
yeah. I'll be the bug guy.
thousands.
Yeah.
You can camp.
Damn.
Wait, so continue the story. What happened after the drive? You met with Jay.
So we got here and it was a little bit weird because he was like, "Hey, come down," like because we'd known each other, so we've been friends for 15 years.
Right.
Usually when you go in for those jobs, it's a new person.
Right.
It's kind of formal,
Right.
and it's like he's just like, "Drop your wife off and come to the ballpark," and I'm like, "Okay." So we're staying at the Log Cook. We'll drop my wife off. I'm like, huh. So I come in. He goes, "Let's talk." So I sit down. We talk for 20 minutes. He's like, what would you do here? Throwing program, like a ton of questions that I could kind of feel like he wanted the answers to, but like wasn't
Already knew the answers
This wasn't
to.
a make or break
Right.
thing,
Right.
Right.
And so I explained everything to him. I had printouts. I had like you would on a job interview. And he leaves, and he's like, hey, I'm going to go print something off real quick because I want to show you the roster or something. So he goes in his office. He's gone for like 3 or 4 minutes. So I'm kind of on my phone, just like, and he comes back in, and he goes, want the job? What? He goes, yeah. You good?
What did you print out? Like,
Yeah.
what?
And I go, yeah. And he goes, boom. And he goes, here's the roster. And then he comes in with a file of like, here's
Wow.
all their names. Here's all the, and it was on from that.
Damn.
That's great.
That's awesome.
And my wife's like, been in the
Yeah.
hotel for like half an hour.
Right.
And I called her. She's like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, what do you think? She's like, what do you mean, what do I think? I've been in the hotel. I'm like, he just offered me the job.
So
And
literally,
she,
you were the man
screamed-
for the job. Then,
She screams in it. She's like, oh my gosh. And I'm just like, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I didn't know it.
Right.
But maybe
Right.
I was, maybe I wasn't.
Right.
Maybe I killed the interview. Shoot, I don't know.
Hey, you killed. Let's go with that. You killed it.
I just dominated the interview.
Duh.
I told you
I was
dominated
fourth,
this.
actually.
I willed
but
this to
dominated
happen.
it.
I made this thing happen.
But I know he took his time and talked to a lot of people because you hear
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Well,
you're
you know.
friends with
Right, you're in the-
everybody.
yeah.
Right.
So everybody's like, hey, have you talked to Jay Johnson?
It's not like it's a small job.
And you
know?
try and say no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're like, you don't want your business out
Right.
because you know how fast that goes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I haven't. And then that guy's like,
I heard you did.
shut up. I just talked to him. I'm like, yeah, I have talked to him. I'm like, you're in the mix? He's like, yeah, I'm in the mix. And then another guy calls you like, hey, you're in the mix, LSU?
And you're sizing yourself up to everyone else.
And now
like,
you're like,
damn.
oh, crap. Well, but maybe if that guy leaves and goes to LSU, then maybe I can take his job. I'm trying to find a
That's a
job.
direction. Right.
So at that point, I'm
Right.
like, I'm looking for a job.
Yeah.
So you're like, hopefully there's some movement, and it's not a pro guy because
Yeah.
that doesn't create any movement for anybody.
Right. No
So
doubt.
yeah, it
That's
happened really fast.
That's awesome.
It felt long, but it happened fast.
Yeah, I've done a great job first year,
Found a nickel.
changing the culture of it and changing the way like putting all systems in. And obviously, first year is always the hardest, you know, because you're getting guys to buy into a whole new deal. And then you go in next year, you have a great recruiting class coming in. With that last question, with the recruiting class coming in, you said you have 11 top 100 guys.
Yeah.
Out of those 11, how many guys do you realistically think you're going to get to come to school?
I think
That's a hard question. I know.
I think if we could get 5 of them, we'd
Yeah.
be fired up.
No, I think
But
it's
as you
real-
guys know, you guys have been through this. It's
Yeah.
such BS talk right now.
Yeah. Right.
Because none of the numbers have been given. The agents aren't letting anything slip.
Right.
So
It never becomes.
I mean, the
real
draft.
until
The draft
until the
is in,
numbers
what,
get
a
into
week?
it.
no, the draft's not until July.
Oh, they moved it back.
Yeah, so now we got to sit on this.
That's
thing
right. It used to be June 6th.
for
or
another
June,
month.
Yeah, I forgot. It's a
And
week.
so it hasn't even gotten real yet. So now everybody thinks they're a top 50.
Wait, so is the draft always going to be July now? I
That's
thought
what
that
they're
was
saying.
the deadline
no,
to sign.
they want to do. They're trying to do like the All-Star break, draft, gala.
Oh.
Like they're trying to do a football.
NFL.
So then what's the
thing,
deadline of signing now?
August 1st, I believe.
So only give 2 weeks, okay.
So
Wow.
2 weeks before we start school.
Wow.
Like that would be nice to lose 8 guys 2 weeks before school.
Wow.
Sure, that should be fine.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Dylan Drew's
No
going
time to go
back.
get
Sounds
time
good
to get
for
anybody
business.
else.
No, you can't get anybody else. So,
Yeah.
but this is the time where everybody thinks they're a first rounder.
Right.
All
No, I
the
get that.
projections now with social media, anybody can
Because
write a list.
realistically, everyone is a first round until their numbers come out.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so, what do you
Someone
want? What do you
wants
need?
3.5,
Yeah,
and
they're like,
dude, we
Yeah.
got you in at 1.5.
Yeah, right.
And it's local scouts. As you guys know, they're not gonna have a
Dad
lot
gets
of,
on the phone.
They're not gonna have a lot of say in some of that stuff.
But
you
they're
know?
talking smoke. They're putting smoke up your ass. Like, damn, you're gonna be. You're the
they're
number
doing-
one guy on our list. Like,
they're doing
well,
their job,
on your
like-
list. But what about the other list? The
Yeah.
other guys.
Yeah.
And for every high school kid, there's another high school kid, and like,
Yeah.
people don't quite realize how many choices there are.
Right.
Like for you to be one of the top 30 picks,
Right.
and that draft includes college and high school, like that's I don't know how many players there are
Right.
in that realm. There's
Right.
thousands.
Yeah.
So for some of those guys to be in that mix is good. It means we're recruiting the right players.
Yep.
Which is good. The staff before us did a good job. The class was good. We had to keep them,
Right.
so we had to do our part in making sure that we got with them and
Mm-hmm.
they like the vision and
Right.
where we're going, and so it's that part of it was good. But now it's just all about,
Yeah.
as we talked earlier, like, is it worth it? Can you
Right.
put a number on this experience?
Yeah.
And what is it?
Yeah. It's hard. And it's hard to put a number if you haven't experienced it.
Yeah,
It really
and
is.
everybody's financial situation is different. For some people, $1 million is going to change the whole course of their lives. For other people, $1 million is like, that's
Yeah.
cool, but like,
Right. I've
you
seen
know,
that before.
Yeah, we're gonna. Dad makes that in 3 or 4 years. We're fine. Like, no
Yeah.
big deal. Like, it's not gonna hurt us.
Right.
So it's just everybody's. And as you guys know, I mean, if at a high school, what would you say? 30,
I was 32.
32nd round.
Oh, I was 30. Yeah, 38th round in high school.
Okay, so what if they would have offered you 2.5?
Yeah. Right.
You've been gone.
I would have been gone.
You'd been like later.
Yeah.
Like, and you had all this talk about I'm not
And
ready.
He's Mr. LSU baseball.
But you know what I mean? Like, you have all this after the fact. Like, no,
Yeah.
I wasn't ready.
Right.
No, I wasn't.
But I couldn't have turned that down.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, like
It's life-changing.
2.5. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it's a lot of money.
it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And in reality, you'll be in the same place probably when you leave here.
Yeah.
You'll be hopefully going to AA that spring training.
Right.
Right. So when you leave here, hopefully Dylan Cruz is the first pick in the draft next year. He'll go to
Probably high A to start. For
He'll
a
go to
little
high
bit.
A, get some ABs. He might finish in high A, done, hoping to break camp the next year in AA.
Yep.
Right.
Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Probably high A.
He'll
again.
be in AA.
He'll be in AA by the time
At
the
some
season's
point
over.
that next year.
And then
Usually.
most
He'll
high
come
school
back for his
kids
senior
aren't that
year.
far yet.
Right.
By year 3, they're just
Right.
not there.
Right.
You know, so you're seeing
It's actually very hard to get a high school kid.
it's hard to get
Yeah.
there because the way this thing is now is they don't they don't want to do anything with you. They just let you go, and that's because they don't want
After that third year, like, okay, now we're gonna if we need to make adjustments. Well, why didn't you do this 2 years ago?
Yeah,
Like, let's. If
I
if
think
knew-
that's changing a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
But say it is simply because of like the rule. Well, the Rule 5 stuff is huge.
Yeah.
Because they want to be able to push
Yeah.
you along before they get to.
Yeah.
It just.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people actually make it to that 6th full season.
In minor league ball.
Yeah, it's got to be such a small number.
I mean, Alcinola was one of those he got all the way through, changed positions, went from shortstop to catcher, became a minor league free agent for the first time as a catcher. He was a senior sign, so he's 29, becomes a minor league free agent, goes to the Mariners because he was really his hands are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right. So like he was a good catcher.
What a great
received it
time
well.
for him to get into it, where that
analytics.
became the.
Yep.
It's not about throwing anymore. It's not about blocking.
Right.
It's about how can you manipulate the strike zone.
Exactly. And so he goes there and ends up, I don't know if it was because he stopped worrying about hitting and just worried about catching and didn't put pressure on himself, but started raking when he was in AAA. They call him up to big leagues with the Mariners. Doesn't even catch. He's a super utility guy. Goes he's basically the rest of the year in the big leagues, plays well. The next year, he's catching almost every day in the big leagues. The headline of the trade to San Diego. So, like, it happens, but it's rare. It's
Same
tough.
thing happened with Schiff, too.
Schiff,
The same thing.
Brian
but
Schiff, yeah.
He was basically
Double A, Triple A.
Double A, Triple A, kind of Triple A, send him back down, blah, 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 blah. Becomes a minor league free agent, signs with another team. Somehow,
San Diego.
literally
Rakes.
and then gets called up to the big leagues.
It's just amazing how.
Sometimes different scenery, man.
And it's just the right place, right time,
Yep.
right organization.
Yep.
Like there's certain guys that, as a coach, they get drafted in the 5th round by a certain team, and you're like, no shot.
Yeah.
He's got no shot making the big leagues. And then there's another guy who's an 11th rounder to a different team, and you're like, this guy's gonna play in the big leagues for that team. Like they're gonna move him quick.
Yep.
They really value what he does.
Yep.
And the Oakland A's are gonna have that guy in the big leagues as trade bait in 3 years.
No doubt.
And then the other guy who signs with Boston or something, you're just like, man, he's probably not going to make it because
Yeah,
they're going to buy
he's
some
gonna get
arms.
stuck.
You're going to get
Yeah.
back up.
You're looking at what's there already. You're looking at how they usually do stuff. You're like, good luck.
It's just jammed up. It's like the
Crazy.
portal. There's
It's
nowhere to
crazy.
go.
Yeah, it's crazy. The Yankees kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be an abnormally advanced prospect. And
Yeah.
those,
Big market teams, you already
yeah,
know. Like,
unless you're the Dodgers. The Dodgers do
Well,
a really good job of
but
mixing
still,
them.
but big
Yeah.
market teams, you already kind of know, like, hey, if there's a guy at that spot,
Yeah.
it's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
If they've been struggling to find a guy at that spot, I got a better chance, but they also have a good chance of signing a free agent. At
Right.
that spot.
Especially if you're
So
a
you
starting
never
pitcher,
know.
a shortstop, a center fielder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if
Marquee
you're
positions.
if you're a utility guy, a third baseman, you hit some homers in Double A, and you might get your chance. But if you're
a big money
an
position.
A-ball shortstop for the Yankees, you're like, what are the chances that
Yeah.
it's not going to be Correa or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
CJ,
somebody
Anybody,
whoever
just
else you got.
literally.
see like the next time around.
If
it's
you're
not
an
gonna be
A-ball
me.
shortstop that's there, it could be literally the Double A number one prospect that's
Yeah.
somewhere else that could be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you just never know.
Then they trade for him, and you're just like, oh, jeez.
Yep.
Yeah, so
It's crazy.
It's a crapshoot.
It's crazy.
As you guys know.
Dude, I appreciate this, man.
Oh,
This
it's
is
great,
awesome.
man.
This was fun.
Yeah, that's great. I
This
love
is
it.
great. Gotta have you back on. Y'all go.
How did
win
my
the-
boys do earlier?
They're great.
Great.
They do. This is the second time they've been on.
Yeah.
Their second or third time they've been on. They're great.
Them two together, they're
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Who's
good.
I
funny,
can't get those two apart.
Man. Yeah. They're funny.
So they play catch together every day.
As they told us.
They shag together
Yeah.
every day. I can't get them to spread out. Like
Yeah. He's
Yell at one you're yelling at too.
I mean,
He is. Coop's laugh is probably the most contagious laugh.
Coop's classic.
Yeah.
He's got that. There's an aura about him that
Yeah.
you feel comfortable with him, and you
Yep.
feel like you know what, this guy's a good dude. I don't even know him yet,
Yeah.
but he's a good dude.
And Gervais just seems like he appreciates everything.
He's like, I don't know how to say this, but like, I think he knows that he probably shouldn't be here.
Right.
Not shouldn't be here, but
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, is very grateful to be here.
Yes.
There's not a
Yeah.
lot of baseball in his background.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot
Right.
of this is new to him. At first, he was getting by on strictly talent and because he was tall, you know, and now he's becoming
He's figuring it out.
like a
Dude.
pitcher that you're
Yeah.
like, I've really seen this guy
Yeah.
get better. And,
Yeah.
and I think he's very grateful. He's just
Yeah.
that kind of kid
Yeah.
anyway.
So it
That's
seems like.
just the nicest kid ever.
Awesome. All right, dude. Go enjoy your Memorial Day. I appreciate this. We'll have you back on. After y'all go and win the regional, y'all come back on. We'll talk about it. We're going to take a little 30-second break before you end the show. You're watching Mik'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive.
Sorry for keeping that.
No, dude. This is great.
Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new. Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com.
Welcome back to Mik'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. We're going to take you home on this special edition of Mik'd Up. It's Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial
Hope
Day.
you're all enjoying the pool or the beach or wherever you're at listening. Hopefully you are listening.
Or work.
Yeah, we had to work. Sorry, I brought you in here. But this turned out to be a great
Happy
day.
to be
This
here.
is great. We had
Good show.
Jay,
Great show.
JK, some players. It's been good. Tigers have a good draw going to Southern Miss. I think they have a really good chance to go. I would think that they're the favorites even though they're on the road. I don't know if they're going to be.
They can get in the winner's bracket.
Yeah,
They got a really
I think
good shot.
I think they win the first game. They put themselves in a good spot. I think that they're in a spot to.
They end up hosting
hopefully
a super
host
regional.
Super
It's
here.
going to be wild.
Hopefully, host super. I think Miami's gonna have a tough road to get out of their own regional, but it'll be interesting. But today was fun. It was a great day. We will be back again on Wednesday. Just a reminder, starting next Monday, we will go to 6 to 8.
Oh.
Yeah, we announced it last week. With our partnership with Caesars, we are going to go from 6 to 8, live from 6 to 8 every Monday and Wednesday, still 4:30 to 6 from Earl's. We're going to have a lot more live betting on the show, talk a lot more betting. Caesars is getting us hooked up with a bunch of really cool guests to have on over the next month. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to be tweeting, talking, interviewing
Texting.
a lot through this postseason. Hopefully LSU makes a deep run to Omaha. But this was a fun day. This was good.
day.
This turned out it was a grinder day. I got in early this morning. You got in late last night. Long weekends, but it was good.
It's good.
And we will recap the weekends on Wednesday whenever have a little bit more clear
Brain
heads.
capacity.
Not cloudy
This
minded.
was Selection Show Monday.
Selection
Recap
show
Recap comes
Monday.
on.
Wednesday,
Recap
yes.
comes on Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll recap the weekend on Wednesday. Memorial Day weekend.
What we can say.
Yeah, what we can say. What we
Jared,
can't
they
talk
missed you in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, so I'm just gonna.
She still knew you.
Thank y'all for thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for watching. We will have clips. We'll have this interviews posted. Catch us on YouTube. Share it. Tell a friend. Tell all of your family. Sign up. Use the Mik'd Up promo code. Mik'd Up Caesar.
CZR.
CZR. Caesars actually told us on Wednesday they are changing the promo. You sign up using our promo code Mik'd Up CZR. You will get your first $1,500. Your first bet up to $1,500 free bet. It was $1,100. That's $1,500 of free money. You can make a bet on. You got the
That should
NBA.
change
You
my
got the NBA
identity.
Finals. You got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Bet the money. You get the money back. It's risk free, and risk free is exactly what it says. You don't lose your money. You get the money back into your account, and you go ahead and you go win.
Post college baseball.
Yeah, I don't know. We got talking about that.
Yeah.
I'll talk to him about that.
I
but
left a mean voicemail at about 2:30 in the morning.
We'll revisit that. He actually just sent me a text. We'll revisit that on Wednesday. Talk to him about it. I'll have answers for you. Enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day. You're watching Mik'd Up, and we are brought to you by Sterling Automotive. We'll see you on Wednesday. Peace.
Peace.